تمہارا آڈیو ویڈیو آن ہے سے آن.
السلام علیکم ورحمۃ اللہ وبرکاتہ. طیب میڈم کا اسکرین شیئرنگ بھی ٹیسٹ کے لیں.
جی میڈم کا اسکرین شیئر ابھی آیا نا سر.
ہاں ٹھیک ہے. نہیں سر کا آپ نے فہیم سر کا بھی ہو جانا تو لنک جنرل گروپ میں بھی شیئر کر دیجیے نا.
جی کر دیا
ابھی کریے بول رہے نا.
جی جی سبغت سر بھی جوائن کر لیا نا.
السلام علیکم.
وعلیکم السلام ورحمۃ اللہ وبرکاتہ. ایک 5 منٹس جوائننگ ٹائم دے دے کے اسٹارٹ کر لیں گے.
آپ لوگوں نے کھانا منگا لیا؟
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. On behalf of Doctors Association for Relief and Education, I, Dr. Muhammad Abdul Wase, warmly welcome all the participants for this webinar, the tax education for doctors. To begin the program without any further delay and to abide by the timeline, I request Dr. Tayyib Sheikh to please initiate the program with the tilawat of Quran Majid.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله ولتنظر نفس ما قدمت لغد واتقوا الله إن الله خبير بما تعملون. ولا تكونوا ولا تكونوا كالذين نصروا الله فأنساهم أنفسهم أولئك هم الفاسقون. لا يستوي أصحاب النار وأصحاب الجنة هم الفائزون. لو أنز لو أنزلنا هذا القرآن على جبل لرأيته خاشعا متصدعا من خشية الله. وتلك الأنس وتلك الأمثال نضربهم للناس لعلهم تتفكرون. هو الله الذي لا إله إلا هو عالم الغيب والشهادة هو الرحمن الرحيم. هو الله الذي لا إله إلا هو الملك القدوس السلام المؤمن المهيمن العزيز الجبار المتكبر. سبحان الله أما يشركون. هو الله الخالق البارئ المصور له الأسماء الحسنى يسبح له ما في السماوات والأرض وهو العزيز الحكيم. صدق الله العظيم. In the name of Allah, the most beneficent and the most merciful. O people who believe, fear Allah, and every soul must see what is it has sent ahead for tomorrow, and fear Allah. Indeed, Allah is aware of your deeds. And do not be like those who forget Allah. He therefore put them into hardship, making them forget themselves. It is they who are the sinners. The people of hell and the people of the paradise are not equal. It is only the people of paradise who have succeeded. Had went down this Quran upon the mountains, you would have then surely seen it bowed down, blown to bits by the fear of Allah. And we illustrate such examples for people for them to ponder. It is Allah, except whom there is no God, the knowing of Allah, the hidden and the evident. He only is the most gracious and the most merciful. It is Allah, except whom there is no God, the King, the pure, the giver of peace, the best over of safety, the protector, the most honorable, the compeller, the proud. Purity is to Allah from all what they ascribe as partners to Him. It is Allah only who is creator, the initiator, the designer of all. His only or all the good names, all whatever is in the heavens and in the earth proclaims his purity, and he only is the most honorable, the wise. Sadaqallahu Azim.
Jazakallah khair. To proceed with our program, I request Dr. Mustafa Hashmi, like he is the person who doesn't require much introduction, a doctor, a trained surgeon, and an IPS officer. He was basically the key person who has coordinated with all our esteemed faculty experts here and bringing out this program in shape. I request Dr. Mustafa Hashmi to give a small introduction about today's event.
Bring Vijay jaldi join.
Assalamu alaikum, everyone. It's a pleasure that this event, which was conceptualized not long ago, has come to fruition, and we are having it online for all of you. Let me take all of you back to the days you joined your MBBS. You know, the very first day, we are all apprehensive, confused in a new territory. And then to the day when we passed our MBBS, when we thought, yes, now we are doctors. And maybe a couple of years more for PG and super specialization. We spent about maybe a minimum of a decade, all of us, mastering how the body works and how we can help heal it. But not a single hour was spent to manage our own livelihood. We save lives, but do we manage our livelihood? That is the key question. We imagine as medical students back in the day that a successful medical career is built upon good clinical decisions. But what no one told me was that a successful medical career is also built on good financial decisions besides your clinical decisions. So that is the thrust behind today's event. We get our medical degrees, we become consultants, we get into PG, we become residents, then we become practitioners. But no one told me, and no one tells anybody else, that you not just become a doctor, you also become an entrepreneur, an administrator, a human resource manager, and also, most terrifyingly, your own chief financial officer, completely untrained, with no degree, with no training, and no qualification. So that is the quagmire that all of us find ourselves in as soon as we begin our practice. And for better or worse, the reality is that we ask people, take advice, some good, some not so good, and sometimes land up in trouble. So the idea is that we should understand the basics. This session will cover the basics. The speakers we chose for this session have been told, and they are on the same page. In fact, they see your problems day in, day out. What issues about taxation and financial management or mismanagement typically doctors face, they are well aware of it. So they have tailored their content to cater to the least common denominator. What we also did was we asked you questions beforehand. So out of the 120 odd registrations we had, more than half sent in their questions. And we put all the questions across to the speakers. They have gone through your demands, and the session will be tailored to what exactly you need. And I'm sure by the end of it, you will come out having the basic knowledge and awareness about all these matters, especially if you have your own practice and you work in a hospital and you have your own clinic, maybe with a pharmacy and a lab, all these multiple income streams that all goes into your single account, which is also used to get your groceries every month. That's a very complicated matter. So going forwards, the takeaways from this session for all of you would be that how you need to divide your finances professionally and personally. And coming to your professional sources of income, be it your salary, hospital-based salary, or your clinic earning, or your hospital-based earning, how that is to be complied with all the taxation laws and the regulations that exist. So I would like to thank DARE for taking this event forward. It was merely an idea, and on a very short notice, all this was put together. Because this is the month of tax filing, that's the month where all of us get concerned about all these matters, and rest of the year it is just on autopilot mode. So let us not make mistakes and later regret, because we all understand that clinical excellence, it earns us respect as doctors. But financial discipline protects us and our future as doctors. And ethically, we need to be compliant to safeguard both our clinical practice and financial practice as well. So with that introduction, I would also request you to use the chat box for sending in your doubts. But I'm sure by the end of the session, most of your doubts will be cleared. We will also have a live question answer session at the end. And I would request you to type in your feedback in the chat box at the end so that the speakers and all of us know whether the session proved to be useful and whether it is having the desired impact that it is supposed to have. So consider this to be your financial health checkup. And this is also a CME, continuing monetary education. And welcome to basics of beyond medicine that we all need to know. Thank you very much. And I also thank the speakers for giving their precious time to all of us. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Mustafa. So without further delay, I request Mr. Sibghatullah Hossaini Sahab to address us as doctors how we are vigilant about prescribing antibiotics, and we have a concept of antibiotic stewardship. In the same manner, we would like to learn from him how, on the basis of Islamic principles, we should be watchful with our finances. So over to Mr. Sibghatullah Hossaini Sahab.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. First of all, thanks to their team and especially Dr. Abdul Wasi Sahab for having me on talking on this important topic. I'm not a financial expert. So there are financial experts who will be talking to you and addressing you on the matters which are related. My job will be just to set the stage for a quick introduction. It will be a very short talk of around 10 to 15 minutes. And I'll just talk about some basics about how Islam, puts our responsibility as an individual, as a movement, and on top of it as a professional on financial stewardship or economic responsibility, and how can we give back to the society. So these will be a very short talk on some basic Islamic principles around it, and then afterwards, as the host and the organizers have mentioned, we'll be hearing more about the actual details from the real financial experts. To begin with, obviously, Dr. Wasi Sahab has given me the opportunity either to talk in Urdu or English. So I'll rather prefer talking in Urdu just to make it a little easier and simpler. Hope that's fine with everyone. तो सबसे पहले कुरान मजीद की एक आयत से मैं अपनी बात का आगाज करूं, जिसमें अल्लाह रब्बुल इज्जत फरमाते हैं वल्लाहु फज़्ज़ल बाज़ुकुम अला बाज़िन फिर रिज़्क़। सूरह नहल की एक आयत है। अल्लाह ताला फरमाते हैं कि अल्लाह ने तुम में बाज को बाज पर रिस्क में फजीलत अता की है। यानी कुछ लोग हैं जिनको अल्लाह रब्बुल इज्जत ने ज्यादा मालो असबाब से नवाजा, ज्यादा वेल्थ दी है, उनके ऊपर रिस्क के दरवाजों को ज्यादा कुशादा किया है। एंड देयर आर फ्यू पीपल इन द वर्ल्ड who are deprived of these resources and who are not as wealthier as the other few. तो ये बाय नेचर है, बाय डिजाइन है, और अल्लाह रब्बुल इज्जत के इस यूनिवर्सल सुन्नत का और उसके डिजाइन का हिस्सा है कि जिसमें कुछ लोगों को ज्यादा अता करता है, कुछ को कम अता करता है, और इस ज्यादा अता करने में, कम अता करने में ही उसने लोगों की आजमाइश रखी है कि if someone is given wealth, someone is given the risk, then how he behaves, how he completes and fulfills his responsibility. और अगर किसी को नहीं दिया जाता है तो उसका बिहेवियर कैसे होता है, उस ना होने में, रिस्क को ना पाने में, या वेल्थ के ना होने में उसका बिहेवियर कैसा होता है, दैट इज आल्सो पार्ट ऑफ अल्लाह रब्बुल इज्जत प्रिंसिपल। तो माल का आना, वेल्थ का आना, और किसी के पास कम आना, किसी के पास ज्यादा आना, दैट इज द कोर द डिजाइन बाय व्हिच अल्लाह रब्बुल इज्जत हैज क्रिएटेड दिस वर्ल्ड। इसके बाद एक और आयत हमारे सामने आती है सूरह मुनाफिकून की, जिसमें कहा गया वअनफिकू मिम्मा रज़क़नाकुम मिन क़ब्ली अन यातिया अहदकुमुल मौत, और हमने जो कुछ तुम्हें बख्शा है उसमें से खर्च करो इससे पहले कि तुम्हें आद हम के तुम में से किसी की मौत। फिर आगे कहा गया कि फिर वो हसरत से कहेगा कि ऐ रब, तूने जो कुछ मुझे मोहलत क्यों ना दी कि मैं सदका करता और नेकोकारों में शुमार करता। یہاں پہ اسلام کی ایک اور اہم پرنسپل کے بارے میں اللہ رب العزت یہاں پہ نشاندہی کرتا ہے. قرآن میں بہت ساری آیات، احادیث میں بہت ساری ایسی مثالیں ہمیں ملتی ہیں، بٹ ویل جسٹ پک اپ فیو وچ ول کلیئر اور کنسپٹ. تو جو اہم چیز یہاں پر آئی ہے وہ یہ ہے کہ دولت یا ویلتھ آپ کے پاس جو دیا گیا ہے وہ کسی بھی فارم میں ہو سکتا ہے. وہ مال و اسباب کی شکل میں ہو سکتا ہے، گولڈ ہو سکتا ہے، پراپرٹیز ہو سکتی ہیں، یا کوئی اور دنیاوی ریسورسز ہو سکتے ہیں. سیکنڈ، آپ کے ٹیلنٹس ہو سکتے ہیں کہ آپ کسی فیلڈ میں کام کر رہے ہیں، آپ اس میں ماہر ہیں، بھلے ہی آپ مالدار نہ ہو لیکن آپ کے پاس اللہ رب العزت نے آپ کو ٹیلنٹ دیا ہے، صلاحیت دی ہے، قابلیت دی ہے. سو دیٹ از آلسو a kind of resource or a wealth which Allah رب العزت has bestowed upon you. تو یہ تمام چیزیں جو بھی اللہ رب العزت آپ کو دے رہا ہے، وہ مال ہو، دولت ہو، ٹیلنٹ ہو، یا کسی اور شکل میں ہو، دیٹ از اے ریسپانسبلٹی، دیٹ از اے ٹرسٹ، دیٹ از این امانت فرام اللہ تعالیٰ وچ از گیون ٹو یو. اور یہ جتنی بھی چیزیں آپ کو دی جائیں گی، اس کا جواب دہی، اس کا حساب، اس کا اکاؤنٹیبلٹی آپ کو اللہ رب العزت کے سامنے آن دا ڈے آف ججمنٹ کرنی ہے. یہ بہت ہی اہم پرنسپل ہے جس کے ارد گرد، جس کے سراؤنڈنگ میں اسلام کا سارا فائنینشیل سسٹم گھومتا ہے، کہ آپ کو جو کچھ بھی دیا گیا ہے وائل اٹ از گیون ٹو یو، آپ اس کے فلی اونرشپ آپ کو دی گئی ہے. ایسا نہیں کوئی اس میں آپ کا شریک ہے، اس کی فل اونرشپ آپ کے پاس ہے، آپ جیسے چاہیں اسے خرچ کر سکتے ہیں، جیسے چاہیں رکھ سکتے ہیں. بٹ ایٹ دی سیم ٹائم وہ اکاؤنٹیبلٹی کے ساتھ ہے، وہ فری ہینڈ نہیں دیا گیا، بٹ اس اکاؤنٹیبلٹی کے ساتھ آپ کو اللہ رب العزت کے سامنے اسے آخرت کے دن میں پیش بھی کرنا ہوگا. اکاؤنٹیبلٹی کیسی ہوگی؟ آپ جانتے ہیں کہ ایک حدیث، بہت مشہور حدیث ہے، کہ جس میں کہا گیا کہ ایک بندہ جب اللہ کے سامنے پیش ہوگا تو جب تک وہ 5 سوالوں کے جوابات نہیں دیتا، وہ اللہ رب العزت کے سامنے وہاں سے ہل نہیں سکتا. اور ان میں سے ایک اہم سوال یہ ہوگا کہ اس سے جو دولت دی گئی، اگین دولت از ناٹ just in question, in terms of wealth, money or gold or something else. It is everything which is given to you, which includes your talents, which includes your resources and all other belongings which you have. ان تمام چیزوں کے بارے میں کہ جو کچھ آپ کو دیا گیا، ہاؤ یو ہیو اسپینڈ، آپ کو 50 60 70 سال کی جو زندگی دنیا میں دی گئی تھی، ان ریسورسز کا آپ نے کیسے استعمال کیا، دیٹ ول بی دا ویری امپورٹنٹ کوشچن. اور جب تک اس سوال کا جواب نہیں دیا جائے گا، آدمی، انسان اللہ رب العزت کے سامنے وہاں پر ہل نہیں سکتا. اور آبویس یہ ہے کہ اگر اس سوال کے جواب میں فیل ہوا، اس ریسورسز کا غلط استعمال کیا، تو پھر آپ جانتے ہیں ہمارا جو بلیف سسٹم کہتا ہے کہ اس کے بعد پھر آپ کے لیے پنشمنٹ کا اور عذاب کا ایک سلسلہ وہاں پر دراز ہوگا. تو یہ ایک دوسرا اہم ترین پرنسپل ہے جو کہ اسلام ہمیں دیتا ہے، کہ دولت ایک امانت ہے، ایک ذمہ داری ہے، ایک رسپانسبلٹی ہے، اینڈ یو آر اکاؤنٹیبل ان فرنٹ آف اللہ سبحانہ و تعالیٰ آن دی ڈے آف ججمنٹ آن ہاؤ یو ہیو اسپینٹ اٹ. تیسری چیز، تیسرا پرنسپل یہ بھی ہے کہ جو مال و اسباب اللہ تعالیٰ نے آپ کو دیا ہے، آپ کو اس کا ذمہ دار بنایا گیا، آپ کو اس کو اونرشپ دی گئی، لیکن اسی کے ساتھ یہ بھی کہا گیا کہ جو سوسائٹی میں جو لوگ اس مال سے، اس اسباب سے، ان ریسورسز سے محروم ہیں، جن کے پاس وہ ریسورسز موجود نہیں ہیں، یو ہیو رسپانسبلٹی ٹورڈز دیم، آپ کی ان کے اوپر ذمہ داری ہے کہ سوسائٹی کو گیو بیک کرنا، سوسائٹی کو واپس کرنا. جو لوگ ان ریسورسز سے اللہ کی اسکیم کے اندر محروم ہیں، ان کو آپ کے ریسورسز میں شریک کرنا، دیٹ از آلسو یور رسپانسبلٹی. اور اس کی سب سے اچھی جو دلیل ہے، اس کا جو سب سے اچھی ریزننگ ہے، ہم میں سے ہر کوئی جانتا ہے کہ قرآن مجید میں جہاں پر بھی نماز کا تذکرہ آیا، نماز کا حکم دیا گیا، آلموسٹ ایوری ویئر یو ول فائنڈ دیٹ کہ زکوٰۃ کا ذکر بھی وہاں پر آتا ہے، اقام الصلاۃ و ایتاء الزکوٰۃ، کہ نماز کا حکم، نماز کو قائم کرنے کا حکم، نماز کو اسٹیبلش کرنے کا حکم، اور اسی کے ساتھ ساتھ زکوٰۃ کا حکم. یہ کتنا امپورٹنٹ ہے، یہ کتنی ضروری ہے، ہم میں سے ہر کوئی جانتا ہے. بٹ آئی جسٹ وانٹ ٹو گیو ون ایگزامپل، کہ جب نبی کریم صلی اللہ علیہ وسلم اس دنیا سے رخصت ہوئے اور حضرت ابوبکر صدیق کے پاس یہ خلافت کا رسپانسبلٹی آئی، تو اس وقت مسلمانوں کے سامنے ایک بہت بڑا چیلنج آیا تھا کہ دیر ویر سم پیپل ہو ویر کلیمنگ ٹو بی فالس پروفٹ. آپ صلی اللہ علیہ وسلم کی اس کامیابی کو دیتے ہوئے کچھ لوگوں کے دل میں لالچ آیا، انہوں نے پروفٹ ہوڈ کا اعلان کیا. کچھ لوگ ایسے تھے کہ جنہوں نے اسلام سے پھرنے کا اعلان کیا، وغیرہ وغیرہ. مطلب ایک بغاوت کی، ریبیلین کی ایک پوری لہر تھی جو کہ عرب میں دوڑ گئی تھی. اس وقت حضرت عمر اور بہت سارے بڑے صحابہ حضرت ابوبکر کو یہ رائے دیتے ہیں کہ دوز who are claiming to be prophet, obviously that's the biggest threat for Islamic Khilafah. We should go and fight with them. لیکن اسی کے ساتھ کچھ لوگ ایسے بھی تھے عرب میں جو یہ کہتے تھے کہ ہم حضور کو نبی مانتے ہیں، ان کو آخری پروفیٹ مانتے ہیں، لیکن ہمارے کچھ کنڈیشنز ہیں. کچھ لوگ یہ کہتے تھے کہ ہماری ایک کنڈیشن یہ ہے کہ ہم زکوٰۃ نہیں دیں گے، ہم ہر چیز مانیں گے لیکن زکوٰۃ نہیں دیں گے. کچھ لوگ یہ کہتے تھے کہ ٹھیک ہے ہم زکوٰۃ دیتے ہیں لیکن دیر از سم تھنگ کالڈ عشر. I'll not go into those details. People who are aware, they know کہ جو کسان فصل بوتا ہے اس میں ایک سسٹم یہ ہے کہ آپ کو اس کا 5% یا 10% خلافت کو یا جو اسلامک حکومت ہے اس کو دینا ہوتا ہے. سو دیٹ از کالڈ ایز عشر. تو کچھ لوگوں کا یہ کلیم تھا کہ ہم زکوٰۃ بھی دیں گے، نماز بھی پڑھیں گے، حضور کا آخری نبی بھی مانیں گے، لیکن ویل ناٹ گیو عشر. ابوبکر کہتے ہیں کہ میں ان سارے لوگوں کو ایک ہی لیول پہ رکھوں گا کہ جو لوگ خلاف نبوت کا دعویٰ کر رہے ہیں ان سے بھی میں جنگ کروں گا، جو لوگ زکوٰۃ نہیں دے رہے ان سے بھی جنگ کروں گا، اور جو لوگ عشر نہیں دینے کا اعلان کرتے ہیں ان سے بھی میں جنگ کروں گا. تو جو پرنسپل ہمیں یہاں پر ملتا ہے وہ یہ ہے کہ جو رسپانسبلٹیز آپ کو دی گئی ہے وہ بھی ضروری ہے، زکوٰۃ کا سسٹم وہ بھی ضروری ہے، اور اسی کے ساتھ ہی ساتھ جو لا آف دی لینڈس ہیں، جو قوانین شریعت نے یا حکومت نے اسٹیبلش کیے ہیں فائنینشیل سسٹمز کو گورن کرنے کے لیے، پوری حکومت کو چلانے کے لیے، پورے گورننس کو چلانے کے لیے، اس کو اس کو پورا کرنا، اس کو ادا کرنا، دیٹ از آلسو ریسپانسبلٹی آف ایوری انڈیویجول. اور اگر کوئی اس کو توڑتا ہے، ریبیلین کرتا ہے، تو دین دی گورنمنٹ از باؤنڈ ٹو فائٹ ود دیم. اس سے ہمیں زکوٰۃ کے سسٹم کی اہمیت کا بھی اندازہ ہوتا ہے، اور ساتھ ہی اس بات کا بھی اندازہ ہوتا ہے کہ اسلام اور مسلم جو ہمارے خلفاء راشدین تھے انہوں نے فائنینشیل سسٹمز کو لاگو کرنے میں، لا آف دی لینڈ کو لاگو کرنے میں کس قدر رسپانسبلٹی کا، حساسیت کا، سینسٹیوٹی کا مظاہرہ کیا تھا. سو دیٹ از دا نیکسٹ پرنسپل اور دی قانون اور اصول جس کو میں آپ کے سامنے رکھنا چاہ رہا تھا. تیسری چیز وہ یہ ہے کہ آپ نبی کریم صلی اللہ علیہ وسلم کے احادیث میں بھی دیکھیں گے، خلفائے راشدین کے طریقہ کار میں بھی دیکھیں گے، وہ یہ تھا کہ ناٹ اونلی فار دیم سیلس، لیکن ان کے انڈر میں جو لوگ آتے تھے، دا پیپل ہو آر ان دیئر کمانڈس، ان کے بارے میں بھی وہ بہت زیادہ سینسیٹیو ہوا کرتے تھے. حضور صلی اللہ علیہ وسلم کی ایک حدیث ہے کہ مزدور کی تنخواہ، مزدور کی مزدوری آپ اس کا پسینہ سوکھنے سے پہلے ادا کر دیجئے. تو جہاں اس میں یہ تعلیم ملتی ہے کہ غریبوں کا خیال رکھنا چاہیے، غریبوں کے تعلق سے آپ کو سینسیٹیو ہونا چاہیے، ان کے آپ کے اوپر جو حق ہیں، جو بھی رائٹس ہیں، اس کو آپ ایز سون ایز پاسبل آپ کو ادا کر دینا چاہیے. وہیں ہمیں یہ پرنسپل بھی ملتا ہے کہ دا پیپل ہو آر انڈر یور کمانڈ، ہو آر ورکنگ انڈر یو، ہو آر ان اینی کیپیسٹی ورکنگ وتھ یو، ان کی رسپانسبلٹی، ان کے حقوق ادا کرنا، ان کے رائٹس کو ادا کرنا، یہ بھی آپ کے لیے ضروری ہے. ہم میں سے بہت سارے ایسے لوگ ہوں گے، ڈاکٹرس ہوں گے جن کے اپنے کلینکس چلتے ہیں، ہاسپٹلس چلتے ہیں، اور دیر ول بی ملٹیپل اسٹاف، ملٹیپل نرسز اور پیرامیڈیکل اسٹاف ول بی ورکنگ انڈر یو. سو اف یو اپلائی دس پرنسپل ود دیٹ اسٹاف، تو ہمیں یہ معلوم ہوتا ہے کہ ان کے تعلق سے جتنی بھی رسپانسبلٹیز آپ کی ہیں، ان کو اوور ٹائم نہیں کروانا، ان کی تنخواہیں وقت پر ادا کرنا، ان کے جتنے بھی حقوق ہیں فائنینشیل، نان فائنینشیل، ان کو ادا کرنا، اور میک شور کرنا کہ they are living a happy life under you, under your command. That is also your responsibility. اور اگر ہم اس معاملے میں کوئی کوتاہی کرتے ہیں، کوئی غفلت برتتے ہیں، then we'll be accountable before Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala on the day of judgment. نیکسٹ چیز وہ یہ کہ آپ جو بھی کام کر رہے ہیں، ہم کسی بھی پروفیشن سے وابستہ ہوں، میڈیکل سے، انجینئرنگ سے، آئی ٹی سے، واٹ ایور، اعتماد اور ٹرسٹ اس پروفیشن کا ایک لازمی حصہ ہونا چاہیے. آپ جانتے ہیں کہ نبی کریم صلی اللہ علیہ وسلم کی بہت ساری حدیث ایسے ہمیں ملتی ہیں کہ جس میں ٹرسٹ کو، اعتماد کو، آدمی کے اوپر بھروسے کو، اور اس میں کسی بھی قسم کی ڈیلنگ ہو سکتی ہے، فائنینشیل ڈیلنگز بھی ہو سکتی ہیں، آپ کے آپس میں کوئی بزنس ریلیٹڈ معاملات ہو سکتے ہیں، کسی اور قسم کی بھی ڈیلنگ ہو سکتی ہے. تو ان معاملات میں، ان پروفیشنز میں ٹرسٹ، اعتماد، یہ ایک بہت لازمی چیز ہے جس کے اسلام بھی ہمیں بہت زیادہ اہمیت، ضرورت اور اس کے اوپر زور دیتا ہے. اور آپ جانتے ہیں ایز اے پروفیشنل کہ ٹرسٹ اور اعتماد کی ہمارے پروفیشن میں کس قدر اہمیت ہوگی. ایک اور چیز جس کو میں یہاں پر بیان کرنا ضروری سمجھتا ہوں، اور سبسیکوینٹلی ہمارے دوسرے اسپیکر بھی انشاءاللہ اسی پر میرے خیال میں زور بھی دیں گے. ہمیں حضرت عبد الرحمن بن عوف رضی اللہ عنہ کی سیرت سے ملتی ہے. ایک بہت بڑے صحابی تھے، عشرہ مبشرہ میں یہ شامل تھے. آپ جانتے ہیں کہ جب یہ مدینہ منورہ میں آئے تو بہت زیادہ غریب تھے. غریب اس لحاظ سے کہ اپنا سارا جتنی ان کی مال و اسباب تھے مکے والوں نے چھین لیا. And when he came to Medina as a migrant, as a muhajir, he had nothing on his hand. بالکل خلاص تھے. اور جب اللہ کے رسول صلی اللہ علیہ وسلم نے بردرہڈ کا مواخات کا سسٹم قائم کیا انصار اور مہاجرین کے درمیان، تو ایک جو ان کے مہاجر انصار صحابی تھے وہ ان کے پاس آئے اور کہنے لگے کہ آئی ایم ریڈی ٹو ڈیوائڈ ایوری تھنگ، اینی تھنگ اینڈ ایوری تھنگ وچ انکلوڈس مائی ویلتھ اینڈ مائی بزنس وتھ یو. عبد الرحمن کہتے ہیں کہ آل آئی نیڈ از یو جسٹ ٹیل می ویئر از دی مارکیٹ. آپ مارکیٹ کا راستہ مجھے بتا دیجیے اور میں جا کر اپنا بزنس وہاں پر شروع کروں گا. اور میں یہاں پر بہت زیادہ ڈیٹیل میں نہیں جاؤں گا، لیکن روایات میں، صحیح حدیث میں اور بہت سارے واقعات میں سیرت نگاروں نے لکھا ہے کہ when he started his business it was with full planning اور with full perfection، کہ مال کہاں سے آنا ہے، تجارت کے بزنس کے بیسک ہبس کہاں پر موجود ہیں، کہاں پر جا کر کیسے تجارت کرنی ہے، کس مال کی مارکیٹ میں زیادہ ڈیمانڈ ہے، کس کو اس کا بیچنا چاہیے، کیسے اس کو آرگنائز کرنا چاہیے، کن لوگوں پر ٹرسٹ کرنا چاہیے، کن کے ساتھ آپ پارٹنرشپ کر سکتے ہیں. آل دیٹ میٹر وچ کمس انڈر اے بزنس. ہی ڈیڈ اے فل پلاننگ، اور اس پلاننگ کے ساتھ انہوں نے اس کو ایگزیکیوٹ کیا. اگین آئی ول ناٹ گو انٹو ڈیٹیل، بٹ آپ جانتے ہیں کہ اراؤنڈ 1 ہجری میں دے کیم ٹو مدینہ، اینڈ اراؤنڈ 8 ہجری میں تبوک کی جنگ پیش آئی، کہ جس میں اللہ کے رسول صلی اللہ علیہ وسلم کہتے ہیں کہ جس کے پاس جو ہے وہ لے کر آئے. تو لوگ کہتے ہیں کہ عبد الرحمن جب لے کر آئے اپنا مال، سو اٹ واز لائک لوڈیڈ آن ہنڈریڈس آف کیمل، اور مدینے سے کافی دور تک ان کا بزنس جو تجارت کا مال تھا وہ لدا ہوا آتا تھا، اور وہ تبوک کے موقع پر حضور صلی اللہ علیہ وسلم کی خدمت میں دے دیتے ہیں. تو اٹ واز جسٹ اے اسپین آف 8 ایئرس کہ جس میں انہوں نے زیرو سے شروع کیا اور بالکل بلینرس کے صف میں وہاں پر شامل ہو گئے تھے. سو آل ہی ڈیڈ واز وتھ فل پلاننگ، فل پرفیکشن، اینڈ وتھ فل آنیسٹی اینڈ ٹرسٹ وتھ whoever was partners with him. تو یہ چیز بھی ہمیں اسلام سے ملتی ہے کہ آپ کمائیے، ضرور کمائیے، اچھا کمائیے، زیادہ سے زیادہ کمائیے، اور اس کو فل پرفیکشن کے ساتھ کریے، فل پلاننگ کے ساتھ کریے، اور ظاہر سی بات ہے کہ ان پرنسپل کا آپ کو سامنے رکھنا ہے. تو یہاں پر کسی قسم کی روک ٹوک آپ کے پاس موجود نہیں ہے، آپ جتنا چاہیں کر سکتے ہیں. میرے پاس وقت کم ہے، آخری 1-2-3 چیزیں رکھتے ہوئے اپنی بات کو میں اختتام پہ لاؤں گا. آپ یہ بھی دیکھیے کہ فائنینشیل ڈیلنگس میں ہمارے سامنے بہت سارے مسائل بھی پیش آتے ہیں. رشوت لینا ہے، دینا ہے، فراڈ ہے، کسی کے ساتھ دھوکہ دہی ہے، اور آپ کے پاس کوئی اسٹاف ہے تو ان کے حقوق مارنا ہے. یہ تمام چیزیں جو کہ ایک آپ اسلامک پرنسپلس کو باہر بھی کچھ دیر کے لیے بازو بھی رکھ دیں، تو ایک سویلائزڈ ورلڈ میں، ماڈرن ورلڈ میں جن کو خراب کہا گیا ہے، جن کو برا کہا گیا ہے، all those things are equally unwanted, undesirable in Islamic teachings and Islamic principles also. اور ہمیں بہت ساری حدیث، بہت ساری قرآنی آیات اس سلسلے میں ایسی ملتی ہیں کہ جس میں پن پوائنٹڈلی ان تمام چیزوں سے منع کیا گیا. جیسے رشوت لینے پہ اور دینے پہ، دونوں پہ اللہ کے رسول صلی اللہ علیہ وسلم نے لعنت بھیجی ہے. اسلام جو ہے فضول خرچی کو منع کرتا ہے، اور ایٹ دا سیم ٹائم بخل کو، کنجوسی کو بھی منع کرتا ہے. کہا گیا کہ فضول خرچی کرنے والے شیطان کے بھائی ہوتے ہیں. پھر یہ کہ اگر آپ کسی کے آپ کو پیسہ دینا ہے، کسی کا آپ کو چیز ریٹرن کرنی ہے، اگر آپ نہیں کر رہے ہیں، سو دیٹ از آلسو سم تھنگ وچ از انڈیزائربل. آپ کو کہا ہے کہ جتنا جلد ہو سکے اس کو سیٹل کیا جائے. تو یہ تمام چیزیں بھی ہمیں اس بات کا طرف ہمیں مائل کرتی ہیں کہ the basic principles which are nowadays prevalent in any financial system in modern world, so they are equally important, they are equally prevalent, they were equally prevalent in even in the Islamic era, اور Islamic principles میں بھی بہت زیادہ ضروری تھے. ایک اور چیز جس کی ہمیں صحابہ اکرام کی زندگی سے مثالیں ملتی ہیں، کہ آپ کو میں نے حضرت عبد الرحمن کی مثال دی کہ when he started his business it was with full planning, full perfection. حضرت عثمان کے بارے میں آتا ہے کہ he used to keep his financial recordings on a daily basis، کہ جتنا خرچ ہوا، کتنا گیا، اس کا ڈیلی بیسس پہ ریکارڈ رکھاتے تھے. اور ان کا یہ ریکارڈ پورے ان کی بہت لمبی زندگی انہوں نے جی. جب when he died, when he was actually martyred, He was around 80 years of age. تو اس پورے لمبی زندگی میں انہوں نے اپنی زندگی میں ڈیلی اپنے خرچ کا اور فائنینشیل جو ٹرانزیکشنس ہوتے تھے اس کا وہ ریکارڈ رکھتے تھے. تو اپنا بجٹ بنانا، حلال کمانا، خرچ سے بچنا، یہ تمام چیزیں ہمیں صحابہ اکرام کی زندگی میں اور رسول صلی اللہ علیہ وسلم کی زندگی میں ملتی ہیں. ایک اور بہت اہم ٹاپک ہے، آئی ڈونٹ ہیو مچ ٹائم بٹ اٹس اے کائنڈ آف سیپریٹ ٹاپک ٹو ٹاک وتھ، کہ رسک مینجمنٹ. کہ جب آپ فائنینشیل پلاننگ کر رہے ہیں، ناٹ جسٹ اونلی فائنینشیل پلاننگ بٹ اینی کائنڈ آف کیریئر پلاننگ اور فار دیٹ میٹر فیوچر پلاننگ آف یور لائف، اس میں رسک مینجمنٹ کی کیا اہمیت ہوتی ہے؟ فائنینشیل ایکسپرٹس کین ٹیل یو. تو اسلام میں بھی، اسلامک پرنسپلس میں بھی، حدیث میں بھی ہمیں بہت ساری ایسی مثالیں ملتی ہیں کہ جس میں رسک مینجمنٹ کو، رسک کو کیسے میٹیگیٹ کیا جائے، رسک کو کیسے ویژولائز کیا جائے اور اس کو کیسے پلان کیا جائے کہ رسک کم سے کم ہو، اس کی بھی تعلیمات ہمیں قرآن مجید میں اور حدیث میں ہمیں دیکھنے کو ملتی ہیں. تو یہ کچھ مختصر سی چیزیں تھیں. اگین آئی وڈ سے کہ یہ بہت ہی بیسک پرنسپلس ہیں جس پہ ہمیں ہماری پوری فائنینشیل لائف کو اور فائنینشیل پلاننگ کو رکھنا چاہیے. اگین دیر آر ایکسپرٹس ول بی ٹاکنگ آن دس. بٹ ایک آخری چیز جس کو رکھتے ہوئے اپنی بات کو ختم کروں کہ وتھ آل دیٹ یو شوڈ آلویز go back to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala whenever you find something which you feel something is not going in a right direction. تو اس سلسلے میں ایک بہت اچھی حدیث اور بہت اچھی دعا جو کہ اللہ کے رسول صلی اللہ علیہ وسلم کی زندگی سے ملتی ہے، and that gives a very 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 important message to us. کہا گیا ہے کہ اللہ مجھے حلال رزق عطا فرما، حرام سے بچا، اور اپنے فضل سے مجھے اپنے سوا سب سے بے نیاز کر دے. یہ کتنی پیاری دعا ہے جو کہ اللہ کے رسول صلی اللہ علیہ وسلم سکھا رہے ہیں کہ ایک تو حلال رزق کی طلب، کہ جس میں یہ کہہ دیا گیا ہے کہ اینی تھنگ اینڈ ایوری تھنگ وچ از پرمیسیبل ان یور گائیڈنس، ان یور لمٹس، مجھے سب کچھ عطا کر دے. حرام سے بچا، اینی تھنگ وچ از ناٹ پرمیسیبل، جو بھی غلط ہے. اور آپ اس میں اگر آج کے ماڈرن ورلڈ میں دیکھ لیں تو اس میں ٹیکس پلاننگ، ٹیکسیشن، لا آف دی لینڈ جتنی بھی ہیں اس کی پابندی کرنا، یقیناً وہ بھی چیزیں بھی اس میں شامل ہو جائیں گی کہ حرام چیزیں جتنی بھی چیزیں غلط ہیں اس سے مجھے بچا. اور اس کے بعد یہ کہ اپنی فضل سے مجھے سب سے بے نیاز کر دے. بے نیاز آدمی کب ہوتا ہے؟ ایک تو اسے اللہ پر ٹرسٹ ہو اور اس کی ڈیلنگ حلال اور حرام سے بچنے کے علاوہ اس قسم کی ہو کہ جس میں رسک بھی کم ہو، اس میں ٹرسٹ بھی پایا جائے، اور کوئی ایسی ہارڈ شپ اس کے پاس نہ آئے کہ جس کی وجہ سے اس کے دوسروں کے سامنے شرمندہ ہونا پڑ رہا ہے یا وہ ایک کرائسس کے سچویشن میں آ رہا ہے. یہ دعا بھی ہمیں ایک بیسک اسلامی، ایک بہت ہی زیادہ امپورٹنٹ اسلامک پرنسپل کی طرف نشاندہی کرتی ہے. سو یہ کچھ چیزیں تھیں بہت ہی مختصراً جو کہ میں نے آپ کے سامنے رکھی. اللہ تعالیٰ ہمیں ان پر عمل کرنے کی توفیق دے. اگین آئی ایم تھینک فل ٹو ڈاکٹر عبدالواسط صاحب فار دس ویری امپورٹنٹ ٹاک. جزاک اللہ خیر. السلام علیکم.
جزاک اللہ خیر. Thank you for your time, Sibatullah Hussaini Sahab. Now, moving ahead with our program, I take the opportunity to introduce and invite Gulzar Karishma Malik Madam. She is a CA, proprietor of GK Malik and Associates, Chartered Accountants. She has more than 17 years of experience in practicing, and she also mentors the junior CS. She has her specialization in income tax, FCRA, and financial matters related to NGOs. I request Karishma Madam to please take her session.
Assalamu alaikum. Thank you so much for giving this opportunity, and I consider this webinar as an opportunity to create awareness and clear all the doubts, and we don't intend to solicit any clients through this webinar. And I pray to Allah Almighty that this next half an hour is khair for all of us, the speakers, the organizers, and also the participants, inshallah. So as Mustafa Bhai had rightly said, there is so much of confusion among the young doctors as to how do we file the return and why are we filing. So I would like to spend next 20-25 minutes clearing these basics of how does the return go for a doctor, and understanding the tax scenario from basics to the end. And inshallah, the next speaker will take up the advanced topic like tax planning, tax evasion. So let me start. To make it simple, we have divided our session into 4 parts. Like, we will first understand what is the income that the doctors are earning, and how do we do the computation, which head we will put. And when you are earning your income from your employer or the hospitals, you're getting some TDS cards. So how do you understand that document, and how do you stay compliant? This is what we're planning to do in next 20 minutes, inshallah. So first of all, to understand your income, as we rightly said, that, yeah, am I audible? Yes. So what we are saying is, let's try to understand the income. To understand our income, I have taken 4 cases. Case A, B, C, D are 4 doctors. Okay, and these are the doctors just like you participants here. Somebody who's just earning salary income and doing a little bit of evening clinic. Somebody who is a physician in a hospital but also visiting some other hospital in the evening in their free time. Somebody is running their own clinic, and somebody is on teleconsultation, and they're also on YouTube earning, social media earning. So how do we understand all these different types of income? Traditionally, if you see 10-20 years back, the income revenue streams were very limited. But now, as the world is changing, each one of us have different types of income, and every income falls under a different bucket. So we need to understand carefully, because the way it is getting taxed is different. So now, if we list out various types of income, you can see you could be an employee either in a government hospital or a private hospital. See, now I would like to just make it a little clear for the young doctors here. Your tax deduction or the tax cut should not be the criteria for you to decide your contract with the hospital. If you feel that hospital has very good practices for their staff, and you think there is a future in that hospital, and if you intend to continue to stay in that hospital for a longer period, you should always aim to be a proper employee on their records. That means you should have an employment contract with them, not of that of a consultant. What we are seeing in the recent past is these corporate hospitals, what they're doing is they prefer to onboard you as a consultant, because see, for them it is easy. Anytime they can give exit to the consultant. But when you are onboarding as an employee, you develop a lot of employment rights with that hospital. You become eligible to get gratuity after 5 years. You are eligible for pension, provident fund. So there are so many things that you can enjoy as an employee, and a good growth. So, but what surprises me is, the doctors, especially the young ones who do not understand all this, they're more concerned with how much is the TDS getting cut, and what is the ultimate tax liability if an employee, or if I'm a consultant, wherever it is better, let me choose that. But that's not the way you decide your contract with the hospital. So you have to work on this. Okay, now coming to the next one, we are talking about OPD consultation, own clinic, surgical procedures, pharma company payments. Like, you get a lot of support from the pharma companies. They're helping you with your travel, your sponsorship, your events, etc. Then telemedicine practice, diagnostic referral commission, and you could be an employment in a medical college and teaching, or you could be in a college just as a visiting faculty or a guest lecturer, earning something from a YouTube. And next important thing is share of profit from a nursing home through a partnership firm. Here also I want to stress, I understand that when we are young and we start our journey, we tend to become we associate with our friends verbally. You work as a group or an association just through an oral understanding, that okay, I'm also a partner orally, but officially on the paper there is no proper partnership deed executed. There are no clarity as to who's doing what should be the share, whose responsibility is what. That is a totally wrong approach. You should actually explore this and make it more formal whenever you're planning to do a partnership and do something in a group. Okay, then from this partnership you also earn some remuneration, salary, bonus, commission, etc. So why are we listing all this income here is, for you it looks like income, okay, and you might think that some income from here I will inform my chartered accountant who's filing the return, and some income I will hide it, I will not tell. Okay, so that is not the right approach. All this is your income, and every income has to be reported, understood. And when I'm talking about reporting, it doesn't mean I'm outrightly saying you please go pay tax on it, but I'm saying please consider all your income. Okay, because another point I want to stress is that as young doctors here, our goal is also wealth maximization. Okay, and when I talk about wealth maximization, I'm talking about your numbers on paper, not off the record. On the record, what is your wealth goal? So when we have some wealth goals on paper, that means we want to capture all this income. Okay, the more you're capturing your income, your credibility, your profile, your financial investment capability will start increasing. So we all have to identify all this list of income. Then next step would be, where do we categorize them? Are we calling them as salary, or are we calling it as professional income? Is it exempt? Is it taxable? This is very important. Okay, so first step is, let's identify your correct income. Never hesitate to identify and inform about your income to your chartered accountant. That is very much needed. Now, when we talk about identification of income, why are we saying let's identify it separately? Because see, the tax man looks at your income differently. When we call it salary, the way it is getting taxed is different, and we pick up your salary items from your form 16. Again, here I'm telling you, form 16 alone is not what is helping you as an employee. When you onboard some hospital as an employee, you have a right to take a proper offer letter, take the employment contract, find out what are the HR policies that the hospital is giving you. Ask them, if I continue to stay back for so many years, what is the exit policy? Is the hospital giving me leave encashment, gratuity, and how is the growth in the hospital as an employee? It's a right for you to know all this. We all go just with the flow without being aware what are your rights as an employee. Okay, so we need to know all this, very important. And then sometimes these hospitals have a wonderful tax department, they have a wonderful HR department, so they're very beautifully giving you all the papers, they give you your pay slip, they give you the breakup of salary. But some hospitals are small, they do not give. Okay, so you need to go and communicate and ask them, please discuss, please tell me what is my salary pay slip, etc. Not just this, and those who are an employee, when you're reaching out to your HR or to the TDS section, you should talk to them about the new regime, the old regime which is happening. You should also discuss with them, these are the investments that I have done, these are the policies I have taken, I have this loan. You have to be more communicate, you should communicate with them. Otherwise, you know what this department is thinking, that by default every employee whose salary is less than 12 lakhs, let us happily put them on the under the new regime, don't deduct any TDS for them, and hand over the form 16. But what if you genuinely have lot of deductions? So this is the step where you need to communicate with them. This is step 1. Okay, now coming to another surprise which happens is, normally these doctors, we came across a situation where one of the doctor, his salary income was 11 lakh 80,000, and his hospital did not deduct TDS, and we are supposed to file as a return. But the minute we log in into his portal, we see that he has been keeping all his salary in his bank account, savings bank account. And because of that, the savings bank account is giving him interest income. For somebody it is 70,000 in a year, for somebody it is 1,34,000. And the minute we add this interest to your salary income, automatically your total income is crossing 12 lakhs. And once it is crossing 12 lakhs, you are taxable. And then when we are asking you to pay tax, your reaction is, my department did not deduct TDS, and how can you ask me to pay tax? And then immediately the next question comes, can we do something? What can we do? Everything is on record here. You have earned interest from the bank, and the bank has reported that interest to the department. It's on the portal. So how can we help you on that? So when you're discussing with your HR department, I know you all are very busy, but make it a point to visit them every quarterly, every half yearly. Start talking about your taxes with them. That's needed. Okay, now coming to the next one, that interest income and dividend income would go to income from other source, and then all your other income like profit and gain from business or profession, we are calling up it as a professional income. Now what falls here under professional income? You can see you have your own clinic or your private practice, you're doing some consultation outside, you're going and performing some surgeries with some other hospital, you're visiting, you're doing telemedicine, you're getting some honorarium from the pharmacy, you're a speaker somewhere, you're getting paid, you're doing content creation, you have a nursing home. All this is your professional income. This is not your salary income. So we need to bifurcate this separately. And then next would be the capital gains. You have sale of land, you have sale of shares, mutual funds, other capital assets. So you need to be aware of all this, and the portal is giving us information about this portfolio that you're dealing with. And the minute you have capital gains, the IT form changes, the tax rate changes. But what surprises us, we had one case last year of a doctor who's been working with a hospital, and she was not even aware that her brother had done a immovable property transaction, and she had signed the sale deed. Okay, and then automatically the entire sale is getting reflected on her pan. The minute we said that along with your salary you also have a capital gain, she was totally surprised. So I would take this platform to request all of you, especially the female doctors here. I totally I respect that we allow our brothers and family members, to help execute these kind of sales. But you should also remember, it's not just signing of the sale deed. There are bigger implications. Once you sign on the sale deed, who is going to pay tax on that? Okay, where is the sale consideration reflected? Who's going to take responsibility? So you should not get surprised when we inform you all this. You are supposed to know that that this carries tax implications. So this is another thing. And when it comes to capital gains, another request I would like to make from this platform is, I see some of the doctors who are not aware are getting involved into futures and options, cryptocurrency. But I request our subsequent speaker, Shabbir bhai, please sir, kindly guide the participants that why we are discouraging on futures and options and on cryptocurrency. We find a lot of Muslim doctors getting trapped into such kind of transactions also. Okay, coming to my next slide. When I talk about identifying our professional income again needs to be split into two different buckets. Okay, why two different buckets? I'll tell you, there's a small difference here. When we talk about the core professional income, the skill that you have as a medical doctor, the expertise that you have, the government is telling that this kind of professional income falls under a section called 44 ADA. Okay, so this is ADA. Now what is this ADA? This is a shortcut scheme, and this scheme is saying that you need not maintain books of accounts, you need not keep track of all your expenses, your income. Okay, you can offer your income at 50% of presumption. That means if you have earned 40 lakh rupees annually, government is assuming that 50% of that 40 lakhs is your profit. Okay, so you as a doctor, they know that we as professionals, we don't need a very big setup like a contractor or a businessman, where lot of overheads are there, lot of expenses are there. The number of expenses which a doctor has as a consultant or when he is running a small clinic are minimum. Just few expenses like little bit of rent and 2 3 staff, little bit of expenditure on travel. So keeping that in mind, they gave up a small scheme. They're saying that don't worry, focus on your profession, just tell us how much is your gross receipt. Out of that gross receipt, 50% you call it income, your profit, and on that you pay tax to us. Okay, now when we tell this scheme to our doctors, our clients, that we are putting you under 44 ADA, immediately that doctor says that please, from that 50% give me advantage of expenses. Okay, So how is that possible? The government itself is making an assumption that 50% is your expenditure and 50% is your profit. So there is no scope of once again putting any expenditure there. But now you will ask me, no, ma'am, there genuinely my margins are not 50%. I run a very lavish clinic. I have a lot of expenses here. Hardly my margin is 10 or 20%. Then how can I give tax on a 50% margin? Then for you, there is the regular scheme. Then in that case, you need to maintain books of accounts, get it audited, prove that your profit margins are less than 50%. And this scheme will apply only for small doctors. Now, how did they define the doctors as small? They're saying all the doctors whose professional income is falling up to 50 lakhs or 75 lakhs are small doctors. Now, what is this 75 lakhs? They have enhanced the limit from 50 to 75, but that comes with a rider. It says not more than 5% of your receipts should be in cash. There's a limit on the cash receipts. The cash receipts should be subject to only 5%. More than 95% should be your digital receipts. Then you can enjoy a higher limit of 75 lakhs. Now, coming to the another business we are talking about, I totally understand that some doctors are also having pharmacy. Okay, they are also having diagnostic centers. They also have equipment leasing. Okay, all this is not your professional income. Please understand. Professional income is when your mind and hand is at work. But when you're selling goods like medicines or lab or equipment leasing, that is not your professional income. Then what kind of income it is? That is business income under section 44 AD. And for this, the government knows that that kind of business will not have bigger margins. The margins are very less. So in this scheme, the government is asking you to offer 6 to 8% as your profit. Okay, but this kind of business attracts GST. Sir will be running through GST in the subsequent discussion. So please understand, when we are talking about business income, we are splitting into two parts. You have to be clear what is your 44 ADA income and what is your 44 AD, because in both the cases, ADA income, there is no GST on it, whereas AD income comes with GST if you're crossing the limits, and the profit margins are much lesser here. So obviously tax will also be less. The nature of that business is of that kind. Okay, now, as I rightly said, that do not get confused. Don't mix all your income. You might be leasing the space. You might be leasing equipment. You could be doing many things. So you need to talk to your chartered accountant. If I lease out the space, is it my professional income? Is it my healthcare income? Answer is no, because see, government is very clear. They have defined what is a medical service, what is a medical professional, because your entire service is GST exempt. So they cannot afford to give a GST exemption for everything you do. So you need to be clear what kind of income you're earning. So if it is leasing of space or equipment, you need to talk and identify whether it attracts GST and how do we offer it for taxation, which bucket it will fall. Now, coming to the next part, most of the doctors have confusion about the IT return that they are filing. Okay, if a person is a simply salaried person, his income from salary is up to 50 lakh rupees, he does not do anything, then ITR 1 is there for him. If the person is into private practice, and he's a small doctor, as I just said some time back, then ITR 4 is for him. But we find most of the doctors falling under ITR 3. ITR 3 is a more elaborate form. It caters to all our requirements. We can offer salary income there, business income there, capital gain income there. Okay, and it allows you with books of accounts, regular scheme, or without books, the presumptive scheme, all are fit in ITR 3. So you should be very careful when you're discussing with your chartered accountant which ITR has been chosen and why it has been chosen. See, one thing I'll tell you, most of the doctors ask us a question, why can't we file the returns on our own? See, there's a difference between we doing it for you and you doing it for yourself. So you should allow us to do our work, right? But that doesn't mean you outsource everything onto us. We are partners in your financial planning. We are partners in your tax planning. You should get effectively involved. You should ask us the right questions. So what is the right question? May I know my income tax login? You are supposed to have your password. You should know whether your computation has been rightly done. You should know which form has been selected. How did the computation get arrived? Whether the return was filed, whether it is e-verified on time. Was it processed on time? Is there a demand on your return? These are the questions that you should ask and you should be involved. Okay, so it's like a partnership between you and I when we talk about your tax returns. Now, coming to salaried people, okay, the young doctors here who are onboarded as simple salaried doctors with various hospitals, the law is clear for you. They are encouraging all of you to go with a new scheme, the new regime that we are talking about. And this new regime, the good news is, if your salary income with all other incomes like interest etc is not crossing 12 lakh rupees, then there is a rebate. You don't have to pay tax at all. Okay, so most of you ask this question, why are we paying taxes? What is the benefit? Here, I would like to tell you, being the law abiding citizen of the country, we all believe in filing our returns and paying the correct taxes. Okay, so we encourage this on paper and in spirit also. So that's the reason. So the government has given a relaxation. They said if you earn up to 12 lakhs, then no need of paying any taxes. So up to 12 lakhs, there is no tax. Once you're crossing 12, you're becoming little rich. So you're supposed to share the government's responsibility. So you have to pay tax. Okay, so now coming to the salaried individual under the new regime, because the rates have been slashed. Okay, if you see how it is getting taxed, I'll just show you. See, the new regime is saying up to 4 lakhs, there is no tax on it. 4 to 8 is 5%, 8 to 12 is 10%, 12 to 16 is 15, 16 to 20 is 20, and then 25, then 30. So this is the progressive way of taxing you. So when they are starting with a small rate of 5%, what is the law telling? The law is saying that we don't want to give you HRA exemption. We don't want to give you leave travel allowance exemption. We will only give you employer deduction to the new pension scheme. Employee deduction also we will not give. ATC deductions we will not give you. So basically they want to simplify the tax regime, and they are saying we will start removing all exemptions and deductions. So most of the people this year, we are seeing the computations, the tax liability is much lesser under the new regime when compared to the old regime. And you have every right to ask your CA, please give me both the computations. If I put myself under the old regime and in the new regime, what is the liability coming, and whichever is less you can choose. But this benefit of choosing also for business heads, they have given once in lifetime. We can discuss that later. Now, those who are into business or professional income, or we are talking about those who are consultants with various hospitals, they are not having a proper form 16. They are just consultants at various places. They are running their own clinic. For such doctors, we are talking about the presumptive scheme, and I already briefed you about it. In this presumptive scheme, our profit is 50%, and this scheme is applicable only when your turnover does not crosses 75 lakhs. But if you want to offer lesser than this, then audit and books are required. Now coming to the bigger practice. Now I understand, I'm sure this platform is also having very experienced and bigger doctors. And mashallah, when we are talking about bigger doctors, I mean their incomes are more than 75 lakhs, or their income is less than 75, but genuinely their margins are less than 50%. For such people, you have to shift to tax audit route. You need to maintain books of accounts, get them audited, prove that your profit margins are less. Now your practice got even bigger. Now this is the question that most of the doctors are asking. How do we start? How do we offer our income for taxation? See, PAN card is one criteria, but my question to you is, when you are a licensed doctor, and you're having this clinical establishment, a very important Yeah, is there something for me?
Please continue.
Yeah. So just wanted to understand. See, the concept of taxation is second step. Step one is wherever you're performing your medical duties, okay, you might have taken a license there, a medical license for the clinical establishment. So when you're taking that license, that talks about your liability, responsibility when you're handling that case. Okay, something goes wrong, then who is answerable? So at that point, I want to understand who is holding that responsibility. There is some confusion there. I said my clients are telling me we are sitting in a common place. My spouse is also sitting there. I'm also sitting there. My friends are also coming and sitting there. Okay, we are all sitting and we're executing healthcare services. But Allah na kare, if something goes wrong in that clinic and somebody is some negative things happen, then who will take responsibility? Who will face the authorities? So the first question would be, where is the license to run that healthcare unit? If you have taken that license as a sole proprietor, then you are answerable for everything, good, bad, including the taxes of that place. No, I wanted to do it, with the group. Then why don't you enter into a proper partnership firm or execute a limited liability or create a trust? We can also create a trust. We can discuss that separately, or establish a private limited company, put everything on paper, who is what, who is taking finance responsibility, etc., and then grow big. Growing big randomly will not make sense. And when we talk about growing big like this, again you have to sit with your consultant and discuss, so how am I going to get taxed if I'm a partnership or LLP, or how am I going to get taxed if I'm a private limited? So this is a bigger discussion. Time does not permit me to discuss right away. Now, coming to understanding your Form 16 and 26As, just wanted to run through this. You are all aware, if you are an employee, 192. If you are a professional or a consultant, people are deducting under 194J. If you're getting commission from your diagnostic centers and pharma companies, it is 194H. You should always ask for your Form 16, Form 16A every quarterly, reconcile. We see some small hospitals are deducting TDS but not depositing with the government. And when we do the computation at the year end, entire liability comes on your head. And that time you cannot come and tell us that they already deducted TDS. They might have deducted TDS. You have to raise a separate complaint for that. Okay, so you need to keep a track, log in into your portal, look at your 26As, and just keep reconciling if everything is getting reflected on the portal or not. If it is not reflecting, we need to pursue the employer and push them to deposit the TDS. Okay, now coming to the next one. I don't know how much time I have. I wanted to keep the presentation little elaborate to cover all the doubts and FAQs that we had. Okay, do we have another 5-10 minutes?
Yes, please go ahead.
Okay. Now, when we talk about the regular scheme, okay, regular scheme is for two people. Those people whose gross receipts are crossing 50 lakhs or 75 lakhs if you keep the digital angle in it, or who are running the clinics and who don't want to go with 44 ADA, the 50% story. They want to offer lesser income and genuinely it is less. Then when you are supposed to maintain books of accounts, those books of accounts are trying to capture your clinic expenses and your operating expenses. When we talk about clinic expenses, clinic rent, staff salaries, medical equipment, medicines, consumables, electricity, professional subscription, medical education, vehicle expenses, your CA fees, etc. Okay, here when we're talking about this list of expenses, it has to be genuine. Okay, it should be incurred, it cannot be fake, and then there should be an evidence of being paid through the bank. And you should not have unrelated family payments, as your official expenses. You should have genuine official expenses, and it should be paid out. Without paying, you cannot claim these expenses. This is very important. And at the year end, I see a lot of doctors, the minute we give them the tax calculation under the presumptive scheme, they say, no, I'm not ready to offer 50%. I cannot pay taxes. Please shift me to the books of accounts. And when we want to shift them to books of accounts, suddenly within 2 days, how do you think it is possible for us to prepare your books? And is it possible for us to track your expenses? You are supposed to do it right from day one. Okay, this is one requirement that you should keep in mind. And then this is just talking about many people have the doubts, new regime and old regime. What are the deductions? Under the new regime, for salaried people, the deduction is 75,000, and they are also encouraging new pension schemes, so employer deduction also you're getting. Whereas old regime, the slab rates are high straight away, after 520, and then higher slab rates, so they are continuing to give you deductions and exemptions. Okay, so now this is just trying to understand whether you're opting for tax audit or you're not opting for tax audit. So look at it. 44 ADA is opted and the results are up to 75 lakhs and profit declared is 50% or more. Then no need of any audit. Simply file the return. But if your receipts are up to 75 lakhs, but your profit is below 50%, then you need tax audit, mandatory. You are signing, I am signing. So it's a very serious matter. Tax audit is not simply kuch bhi dal dijiye. It needs lot of evidences. Or if your gross receipts are exceeding 75 lakhs, then straight away you fall under regular books of accounts and tax audit is mandatory. Okay, so then salary income, we need not worry about tax audit. And if you don't do this tax audit and if you're not filing on time, there is a penalty of 1.5 lakhs for this. So keep that in mind. Okay, so what is that I would request all of you? Okay, so do not wait till the year end. I find one small issue with our community is when we are catering to our clients from our Muslim community, they think that filing of tax returns is our headache. Okay, so no, it is not our headache. It is your responsibility and we are helping you with that. Okay, so they do not cooperate with the data sharing. They are not very good at communication. They don't give the data on time. They are not transparent with all their information. They don't cooperate with the OTP. So this is normally, this is the problem that we are facing. I totally respect that all of you are busy, but please understand, this is not your neighbor's return. This is your return. So you need to be clear with all this. And in July, when everybody is busy, and you will be surprised, some CA firms are filing more than 700 returns. So they will not have patience and time to answer to your queries. So why don't you start talking to your chartered accountants even before the March is over? You can say, this is what I did during the financial year. Okay, this is the income that I have earned. Can we have a draft computation? This is what you need to start talking. I know you all are very busy and reserved, but please start talking. Okay, so what do? We have to start documentation. We have to be very careful. We have to download Form 26As. Okay, this is your right. You can get it from your portal. Your employer is not going to give you this 26A, so don't go and ask him. This is on your dashboard. You can ask that hospital for Form 16 or 16A, but 26As you will get it. Keep track of your bank statements. Most of the time after March, in July, you forget. Whenever we ask, we do the bank credit analysis, where did you get this money? It's all a mess. So please give us a track of your receipts. We will check whether you're eligible for presumptive scheme or the regular scheme, and we will plan accordingly. And we also have to check whether GST is needed. And some of you, when TDS is not deducted, advance tax is required. All this can be planned if you start talking to us in March. Okay, so maintain a complete record. Don't mix everything. And I think I should not take much time. We have two more speakers and we have question answer session. So this PPT will be shared with you. You can keep a track of all this, and we will stay in touch in case if you all have further questions, inshallah. Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Karishma madam. It was a very comprehensive. It almost covered most of the things. Now, moving ahead with our program, I request our veteran CSR, Mr. Faheem Ansari. He is a managing partner at FA Ansari and Associates, and he has more than 35 years of experience in accounts, and he is a recognized authority in tax litigation, transfer pricing, and high stakes regulatory compliance, including AML and black money matters. And beyond his domestic expertise, and he is also experienced in international tax, And C. Ansari provides comprehensive virtual CFO services to the Middle East, Canada, and America as well. So I request sir to please address us. Thank you.
رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي امري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي. Assalamu alaikum. I'm audible?
Alaikum
Yes, sir.
assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Yes, sir.
सबसे पहले मैं डेयर और इसके सभी जिम्मेदारान का शुक्रिया करता हूं जिन्होंने मुझे आप सबसे गुफ्तगू करने का मौका दिया, और साथ ही आईपीएस डॉक्टर मुस्तफा हाशमी साहब का जिन्होंने मुझको दावत दिया. And thank you, Karishma, for your excellent presentation. Now I directly come to the topic. My first slide is tax planning, tax avoidance, and tax evasion. I want to open this segment by drawing a line that I think every professional should have crystal clear in their mind, because the three terms, tax planning, tax avoidance, tax evasion, all the three gets used almost interchangeably in casual conversation, and they should not be. There is very thin line. We'll try to understand this with the help of examples. First is tax planning. Is using the deduction, exemptions, and structure the law actually provide to legitimately reduce your tax. This is completely legal, and frankly, it is your right. For example, there is an old scheme and new scheme. Karishma has thrown the light on it. In old scheme, we get various deduction, ATC, ATD, handicap deduction, education deduction, LIC payment, so many deductions. Whereas in new scheme, it is abolished. In new scheme, we get only NPS contribution by employer, or if somebody is Agniveer, so he can get deduction under section 80 CCH, and salary class get only standard deduction 75,000. This is our legitimate right. For this, we can plan. Secondly, 44 ADA. So we can plan our affairs that we should keep our income, our gross receipt within 50 lakh or 75 lakh. In that case, we should not receive cash payment, cash receipt more than 5%. If we are crossing this, then we have to maintain books of account, and we have to file Form 3 as Karishma has told us, right? You can plan your income. See, PPF interest is exempt. There you can plan your income from that. You can plan your income by way of tax-free bond. So there is a tax-free income. You can purchase vehicles, electric vehicles, where you will get 40% depreciation. If you are having premises, your own, you can transfer it to your family members and you can pay rent. These are the tax planning you can do. And there is no problem with this. If you are having pharmacy in your clinic, this pharmacy comes under trading, separate business. Even that you can have license in your family member's name, and this will be taxed separately. And there you will get benefit of GST up to 40 lakh rupees, because it will be considered as trading, and again up to 12 lakh rupees individual taxation. If you combine this income with your income, then you have to take GST number, and it will start from 20 lakh itself, because your exempt income, clinical income, which is exempt, should also be considered. Though you will not pay any GST on that exempt income, but for taking number, it will be 20 lakh. So these are the legitimate planning which you can do it. There is no problem. But tax avoidance sit in a gray zone, technically within the letter of the law, but structured purely to defeat its intent. For example, you claim dummy salary. You don't have employee. You are not paying, but you are showing salary. So this is, as per law, it is eligible deduction, but this is not the correct, because if it comes under scrutiny and you are asked to show who is the employee, where is his return, where is the payment, so there will not be any answer to this. Secondly, another example, political donation is exempt. If you are paying any amount to political parties, it will be exempt. In last year, there was many parties are raided, those small parties, those are taking donation and giving cash back after deducting some percentage. Those political parties are raided and all people who have contributed are questioned. Their returns are reopened or they are forced to declare their income under section 139(8)(a). Updated returns, by way of updated returns where tax is heavy, interest is heavy. So to though ये political donation eligible है, but if you are taking advantage, then it is become dangerous. Same way, another example, if you are buying a flat, people come to us, we don't have money. We have money in cash, but we don't have check payment. People suggest them to buy shares and generate long-term capital gain under section 54. That 54F, that gain is exempt if you are investing in flat. People do that, but again, this chain is caught, and finally it comes on the beneficiaries. These returns are reopened, so we should avoid all these things. Officially, it looks we are doing correct things. As per law, we are doing. But behind the scene, intention is different. If we are caught, then we are in trouble. Sometimes we fight back with the department and we succeed. At initially at official level, we don't get benefit, but at tribunal level, some cases are in favor of the SSE also. So this is very thin line here. Tax evasion is not reporting true income. You are hiding your receipt, inflating your expenses, falsifying record. This is illegal, and the consequences are not just financial, penalties up to 200%, prosecution in serious cases, and professional reputation damage that for doctors can be far more costly than the tax itself. For example, bogus purchase bill to inflate expenses, under reporting cash fees, but footfall, pharmacy seal, UPI trends reveal the gap and cash deposits get flagged. Personal spend as clinic expenses, family, car, home renovation, foreign holiday. These all expenses are booked in official expenses, which is not correct. And in case of scrutiny, these are disallowed and then we face problems. My honest advice to you all is stay firmly in the first category, tax planning only. Whatever is genuine expenses, you must claim. Do not inflate them. And whatever genuine expenses, don't leave them also. Definitely you should claim. Now, next slide. Now, if you are claiming, as for a small doctor, as Karishma said, if you are claiming you are going for 44 ADA, 50 lakh or 75 lakh, then you cannot claim any deduction of expenses. This is threshold of 50% on which you have to pay tax. But another way is available. Form 3 you can file. You can go for books of account and you claim your legitimate expenses. Your margin is less, then you pay on lesser tax. Your clinic rent, salaries, electricity, medical software, consumable drugs, professional books, journal, CME, depreciation, professional fees, payment to consultant, payment to nurses, reception, housekeeping, all these expenses are allowed. Even if you have car, motorcycle, depreciation on that, petrol expenses, insurance, everything will be allowed. Even driver salary you can claim. Clinic repair, clinic insurance, staff welfare, tea, coffee, uniform, conveyance, everything, it is legitimate. But for that, you maintain the record. You need either bill or vouchers that you have spent. You have to record all these expenses in your books of account. You have to keep the books. And if you are showing less, your turnover is 75 or less, 50 lakh, and still you are showing below 50 lakh, 50%, then you have to get your books account audited by a chartered accountant. And if here you have to decide if your margin is more, then you can go for 50%. If your margin is less, then go for regular scheme. That you have to make decision which is correct. And next. During last so many years, in my experience, and when we talk with the department people, the most often issues which are flagged by the income tax department are as under. And based on these, cases are selected for scrutiny and assessment is done. Sometime heavily. For example, bank credits that cannot be correlated with entries in the books of account, bills or voucher. So whatever it is for whatever expenses we are booking, if we are going for regular books, then we should maintain proper expenditure, proper receipt. We have to identify every deposit from where, what is the source, why it has come, whether it is professional, whether it is non-professional income, whether it is capital receipt. So all those records we are duty bound to keep, and accordingly treatment will be done. Cash deposit spike, large frequent round sum deposit without corresponding patient receipt or detail. हमारा collection कम है, but we are depositing more. So that also give indication from your bank statement that something is wrong and your case may be selected for scrutiny. Credit that cannot be tracked back to any day book or receipt book entry. So in these cases, if department comes to know, then all this, if we do not prove, then all these credit will be added to our income and that rate is higher. Normally we have 5% to 30%, but in that case, straightway 60% tax is there. This will be addition under section 68 or old section 68, and tax will be 78%. And if you add interest, it will go more than 100%. So we should be very careful before doing this. We should keep proper record, proper books. That is very, very important. Next. as mentioned earlier, section 44AA, new section is 62 as per 25 Act, required prescribed books of account once professional receipt crosses the threshold. And 44AB, when you show your income less than 50% or your turnover is more than 75 lakh. In that case, you have to get your books of account. If we don't maintain proper books of account, again, it is difficult to explain what is deposit, what is withdrawal, and then unexplained cash credit, investment and money becomes difficult to rebut. And once made, they attract the special rate tax regime. Again, same what I said earlier, it is more than 100%. Though this year tax rate has gone down to 30%, but penalty they have increased to 200%. So again, it will be more than 70%. And finally, with interest, it will be more than 100%. So we have to be very careful in this also. Many doctors are getting perks and commission from pharma companies. We are not showing that, but those companies are showing in their books of account. But that is not allowable deduction for them. As per previous breaches the Medical Council Professional Conduct Rule CBDT Circular 5/2012 ऑलरेडी डिसलाव द एक्सपेंसेस, ये एक्सपेंस वो डिसलाव कर देती है डिपार्टमेंट उनके हाथ में, और वहां से वो ट्रैक करते हैं इंडिविजुअल डॉक्टर्स के रिटर्न, वहां पर मिसमैच मिलता है, तो योर रिटर्न्स आर सब्जेक्ट टू रीओपनिंग एंड दिस एंटायर टैक्स जो भी फ्री बीज में आपको मिला है, चाहे फॉरेन ट्रैवल का हो या कोई गिफ्ट हो, all those things will be added back to your income, and again that tax will be very, very heavy. Next. This is also commission income from diagnostic laboratories. Many doctors are not showing this income in their returns, even they do not talk. But when these diagnostic centers are raided, surveyed, वहां पर वो सब रिकॉर्ड मिल जाता है किस डॉक्टर को क्या फीस गई है. तो बेस्ड ऑन दैट इंफॉर्मेशन बेनिफिशियरीज डॉक्टर्स के रिटर्न रीओपन किए जाते हैं और उसमें वापस वो हैवी टैक्स लगता है जो मोर देन 100% हो जाता है इंटरेस्ट के साथ में. और जब ये रीओपन होता है केस तो खाली एक आइटम के लिए नहीं होता, देन फिर अदर इनकम, अदर एक्सपेंसेस, ऑल एवरीथिंग विल बी चेक्ड. इट इज नॉट ओनली कि भाई वो इनकम आया उतना ऐड कर दिया, नहीं, दे हैव टू चेक एवरीथिंग, ऑल योर debit, credit, loan, investment, everything will be checked, and there are also something they may get. So this will also compound your problem further. It is also seen that people are claiming housing loan interest, but in fact, actually there is no interest paid. There is no property. People are claiming bogus. Same way, house rent allowance. People are showing payment to their father, mother, because they are staying with their father, mother, without any payment from their bank. This is also fictitious things. Same way, life insurance. In the old regime, now new regime, there is no HRA or insurance. In old regime, people are claiming insurance benefit. They are not making any payment to LIC or insurance companies, but showing just to claim bogus deductions. Political donation, I have already talked, which is under section 80 GGC. It is also seen that doctors or anyone earns good amount, he has cash, but when he is going to buy property, he needs official payment. So what he does, he gives cash to somebody and take checks. That is called entry, loan entry. or there are hawala operator in the market who gives this loan entry with certain commission. Later on, this loan provider, creditors are caught and they accept we have done only paper transaction and we have taken only this commission. Based on their statement, these beneficiaries' tax returns are reopened. And this income again added back to their income. And once it is reopened, your entire return will be questioned. Other things which is genuine or non-genuine will also come into scrutiny. And once litigation is start, it takes long time, not only in terms of money, but it also disturb your routine life, time also. Same way people are taking GST, GST bills, bogus bills for claiming GST input also, as well as for increasing their expenses. These rackets are also busted. Every month you must be reading newspaper कि इतना बड़ा वो GST का इनपुट चोरी हो गया, हजारों करोड़ का गवर्नमेंट का। वो जब हो जाता है तो जिसने वो बिल्स लिया है उनको वो ट्रैक करते हैं, उनका वो इनपुट GST में भी डिसअलाउ करते हैं और दैट इंफॉर्मेशन गोज टू द इनकम टैक्स डिपार्टमेंट and again department reopen those cases and entire expenditure is disallowed. So you get punished under GST as well as income tax both. Those who are having GST or income tax both, they should, nowadays GST turnover is shown in the 26AS, 26AIS. So if your GST turnover is high or income tax turnover is less, you need to maintain proper reconciliation. Otherwise, that also gives a signal to the department to take your case under scrutiny. So you must check GST turnover and income tax turnover is same. Pharmacy turnover gap, again, pharmacy GST turnover is far exceeding business income. Declare in the income tax return. That also gives indication that something is fishy. Based on that information, your cases all also picked up for the scrutiny. Sometime there is a complaint. आपसे किसी की दुश्मनी है, वो लोग भी कंप्लेन करते हैं, तो बेस्ड ऑन दोस कंप्लेंट दे गिव्स योर they gives wrong or right information about you, and based on that again you are questioned by the department. My next slide is precaution for medical practitioner. जो big practitioner है, hospital वाले हैं, they should not accept cash payment of rupees 2 lakh or more, because it is 100% penalty if you are accepting 2 lakh and more in cash. So they should avoid. Same way, those are big hospital, they are making payment to their creditors. Those who are micro or small enterprises, payment to them should be made within 15 days from their bills or 45 days within a written agreement. If you don't make this payment in time, then it will be added back to your income of that year. Though you will claim the next year of payment, but in that year tax will go up, even your advance tax or interest will go up. Third, separate business and personal account. I have seen that people are mixing in the same account. They are spending personally. Business and business and personal expenses in the club together, so it is difficult, and in the last moment they split. So it is better to keep two accounts separately for personal use and for business use. Nowadays, one more UPI or digital receipts people are using recklessly. they don't keep any accounts, किससे आ रहा है, किसको जा रहा है. This will also be a problem it is a very gray area and it will be a problem for the future. Day is not far when people will get notice based on this, not only from GST department, from income tax department also. Because people are not keeping कि ये पैसा कहाँ से आया गया कितना आया नहीं पता चलता है. तो एज ए डॉक्टर यू मस्ट कीप रिकॉर्ड्स कि पैसा कहाँ से आया, किसको जा रहा है. दैट ऑल receipt and payment, we must keep record of sources and nature of payment. Foreign income and asset, some consultant or some doctors are giving services online to foreigners, foreign countries abroad. That income is not exempt. They treat as exempt income. This income is taxable. If you don't show, it comes under Black Money Act. And consequences are very heavy. Non-disclosure of this income itself invite penalty of rupees 10 lakh per year. And tax is 30% plus 300% penalty, put together 120%. Interest is separate. So this income, and many pupils are investing in foreign countries. They have purchased property, but they are not showing here. I know many cases. दुबई के लोग यहाँ आके सेल करते हैं कि नहीं यहाँ तो कैश दे दो हो जाता है, कोई पूछता नहीं, दुबई में सब चलता है. तो चलने में बहुत सारे लोगों ने प्रॉपर्टी खरीद ली है. एंड वो इंफॉर्मेशन फॉरेन एक्सचेंज, ऑटोमेटिक फॉरेन एक्सचेंज एग्रीमेंट है दुबई गवर्नमेंट के साथ, गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया का. दैट इंफॉर्मेशन इज फ्लोइंग every year, and based on that information your returns are checked. In case of mismatch, notices are issued to you under Black Money Act. Its consequences are very heavy. Even it has prosecution up to 7 years, and after that AD will also be involved in this. So it is better we should keep our investment proper. We should show in Schedule FA of our income tax return to avoid any problem. Next is 10 or TDS compliance. Those doctors whose fees are 50 lakh rupees in last year, they are required to obtain 10 number in next year. Suppose in last year, March 26, your receipt is 50 lakh. So this year you are required to take PAN number and you have to deduct TDS from your all payment wherever is applicable. If salary, legal fees, repair maintenance, contract, wherever TDS is applicable, after a specified limit, you should deduct TDS and file your quarterly return. And TDS is to be paid every month before 7th of the next following month. Suppose you spend this month to 1 lakh rupees on repair, so you have to deduct say 2%. So this 2% TDS you have to pay before 7th of next month. If you don't pay, it will attract interest of 1.5% per month. You have to file quarterly return. If you don't file, then you will pay penalty 100 or 200 rupees per day till you file the returns. So these TDS compliances are also required to be looked into by the big consultant. Some next is common mistake while filing the return. Common mistake is filing ITR1 when you have professional income. So you before filing you should see what is your correct form, whether ITR1, ITR3, ITR4. Number two, you should reconcile 26 AS, AIS before filing, because nowadays everything is captured. Government has, under section 285 BA, has mandated many pupils to file transaction detail. Suppose you are buying any property and your agreement or government value, stamp duty value is 30 lakh and above. From this year, it has increased to 45 lakh. Then registrar of properties where you are registering is duty bound to inform income tax department that this person has purchased and this person has sold, and this is the value of transaction, this is the nature of property. So that information captured in your 26 AS or AIS. So you cannot hide anything. In that also your transaction should be within as per government stamp duty rate. 10% variation is possible, but you should not go beyond that 10% limit. Otherwise, the difference will also be added. Same way, financial institutes are informed, duty bound to inform transactions. If you pay cash in your saving account in whole year, 10 lakh and above, they have to inform. If you pay your credit card cash, 1 lakh rupees, then credit card authorities have to inform. So this is from many sources, either by way of TDS, by way of information. This all transaction information is going to your income tax department, and that is tracked in your 26 AS or AIS. So you cannot hide anything nowadays. It is very difficult. Scenario has changed. So we have to track all these big transactions. Number third is missing the 15th March advance tax due date. We are paying heavy interest because of non-payment of advance tax. Those doctors who are going for 44 ADA, they have to pay 100% advance tax before 15th March. Otherwise, they will be liable for interest from April till you file the returns at the rate of 1% on your tax liability. Those who are not following 44 ADA presumptive scheme, they are supposed to pay their advance tax if advance tax is more than 10,000 by 15th June, by 15th September, 15th December and 15th March. By 15th June 15%, by 15th September 45%, by 15th December 75%, and by 15th March 100%. Failure of which interest will be attracted under section 234C for deferment of installment and 234B for non-payment of advance tax. Next is claiming expenses and 44 ADA double dip. Already Karishma has told that once you are going 44 ADA, so your limit is 50%. Beyond that, you cannot claim any other expenditure. So if claiming, that is also wrong. Next is not reporting interest, rent, or capital gain. If you have capital gain, rent income, interest income, if it is credited, you are in bank account and you are not showing, that is also wrong. If it comes under scrutiny, bank statement is asked to produce and then it is reconciled. Net grossing of receipt with the TDS. Sometimes people are showing only check what is received and forget TDS. TDS, for example, your income is 10 lakh and TDS has been deducted 10%, 1 lakh rupees. So you are showing income only 9 lakh, whereas income should be 10 lakh, 9 lakh plus 1 lakh. So this is your gross income should be shown, not the net income. अभी while filing 44 ADA does not mean that you cannot be questioned. It is true that you need not be, to keep books and explanation for each entry of debit and credit, but overall you should maintain the detail. For example, your turnover is in bank say 80 lakh or more than 50 lakh, but you have opted for 44 ADA, showing turnover within 50 lakh. Here you have to explain the difference. If you fail it, it will be your income under section 68, inviting heavy tax and penalty. Going 44 ADA does not give you license that everything is correct. If your case is picked up for scrutiny for any other reason, not 44 ADA, as I told, bogus loan, capital gain, or because raid on diagnostic center or any reason, if your case is open, they will ask to produce your bank statement. If bank statement is showing receipt credit more than 50 lakh or more than what you declared in your return, so you need to explain every credit. If you do not explain, then it will be added back to your income and it will invite heavy interest and penalty. Same way, when you are opting for 75 lakh, you must ensure that your receipt, cash receipt is less than 5%. Otherwise, though you have opted, but in case of scrutiny, it will be rejected and then you will face penalty under section for not maintaining books and not maintaining for tax audit. And again, tax audit from this year, fees is 75,000 and that is made as fees. Now you have to file with return only. So make sure that your returns are filed in time. There are some more things. Those who are in business or they should not spend cash. Any expenditure about 10,000 is disallowed. So in cash, limit is 10,000 for any expenditure per day per person. You have to pay by check otherwise or online GPay or online platform. Personal expenses should not be debited to professional account. Many people are charging their high value medical equipment with the profit and loss account. That is also not correct. You should claim depreciation instead of charging in first year whole cost. That will be wrong because you are eligible for depreciation. I mean, now I have given one. You need to maintain, doctors need to maintain Form 25 as per income tax requirement under Rule 46. That format is given where you have to show date wise पेशेंट का रेफरेंस, क्या आपने उसको दिया कंसल्टेशन है, सर्जरी है, उसका नेचर, उसने कैसा पेमेंट किया और कितना पैसा दिया, ये सब आपको रखना है. और ये रिकॉर्ड यू हैव टू मेंटेन एटलीस्ट फॉर 7 years as required by income tax department. In case of scrutiny, this can be asked officially. Authorities can ask to produce this register. If we fail, then consequences will be different. You need to maintain document daily cash register, appointment log, cash book, bank statement, UPI ledger, purchase bill, and amount is 250, not 50. It is 250 के ऊपर कोई भी खर्चा है तो उसका बिल और आपको सपोर्टिंग रखना है. सैलरी, रेंट, PF रिकॉर्ड्स, फिक्स्ड एसेट डेप्रिसिएशन रजिस्टर, GST रिटर्न्स, All these record you need to maintain. I mean, now I tell you 2, 3 live example. One hospital is surveyed and their cash book is caught where doctors have been paid consent fees in cash, but those fees are not shown by the doctor individual returns. So from there, all those returns are verified by the department and cases were picked up for the scrutiny. And cases were reopened. This is real case. One hospital is here in Bombay, Fauziya Hospital. I was there. Some of the doctors are my client in that. So I have seen myself. Okay. Secondly, one more case I have seen. He was filing his return under section 44 AD. He is a businessman. He was showing only income 2-3 lakh rupees. But he has given 2 crore rupees as loan to a real estate firm. And that real estate firm was under scrutiny. He was asked to produce confirmation. He has given the confirmation. He is given confirmed that yes, he has given. He has shown his bank statement and ITR copy. Based on that, the officer who was handling that real estate scrutiny, he has written to the jurisdiction officer of this Mr. Say his name was Abid Babla, Mr. Abid Babla's officer. This person has given 2 crore rupees loan and his income is very low, 2 lakh something. Based on this information, his case is selected for the scrutiny. And believe me, this 2 crore rupees added to his income. Tax more than 1 crore rupees because it was added under section 69. So 78% tax with interest, it goes beyond 1 crore. We filed the appeal and now appeal level, he has got the benefit because we claimed that this amount was paid in earlier year and that was relief on technical ground. So if we show very less income and our lifestyle is we are having 1 crore rupees car and we are paying a tax only on 7 lakh rupees income or 6 lakh rupees income. So that itself shows, it itself gives hints that we are hiding something. We are not making payment properly. Okay. Another example I'll give you, I have a doctor in Varanasi who has 4 flats in Dubai. He purchased 1 flat and sold. He earned capital gain. But that if you buy flat in India, if you sell and buy flat in India, you get exemption under section 54. But if you buy outside India, you don't get that exemption. So he is also caught and is facing, is in difficult situation now. So whatever foreign investment we have, we should show properly in our return. We should send money from US through banking channel to avoid any future problem.
Yes.
Now I come to the GST part. GST is exempt on medical fees, OPD consultation, clinical service, inpatient treatment and surgery, diagnostic services, ambulance services. On all these, there is no GST. This is exempt service. But if we are doing cosmetic procedure for look and feel, that is taxable. On that, you have to pay 5% GST. There is no input credit from September 25. Earlier, it was 18%. Now, rate has come down. If you are giving any equipment on rent or any furniture, then GST is there. Suppose you hospital bed you are giving on rent, so it will be at 18%. If you are giving any equipment on rent, it will be 5%.
Hello,
Yes,
Fahim sir. Sorry to interrupt.
Ji.
We would like to benefit with your continuous support in question and answer session. For now,
Okay.
can we cover Shabbir sir's
Yeah,
topic
it
and then
is
we can get
last.
back?
Ji.
Yes.
We are
Thank you.
closing.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum. So, very thanks to Faheem Ansari sir for very elaborate presentation. Now, even though we are extending our time, we would like to benefit from the presence of our esteemed experts, including Shabbir sir. And he is the founder and managing director of SenSage Financial Services, a firm which is specializing in Sharia compliant and ethically responsible investments. And we all know he has been in this field for more than 35 years and across personal, private, and investment banking, wealth management in India as well as abroad. And he has been a pioneer in promoting the Islamic and ethical compliant, Sharia compliant investing and wealth creation for the Muslims particularly. And sir, please address all of us as this is an online event and it is also being recorded. Please, we would like to just go beyond our extended time. So you can take your time, sir, as per the schedule itself. Don't consider that we are running out of time.
Assalamu
Thank
alaikum
you.
warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you very much, dear members, for inviting me to this audience. I have been coming here more than one occasion, but I'm happy to come around along with some chartered accountants. Today's talk of mine is not going to be on numbers. No, I'm trying to talk more about ethics after Gulzar, who has already mentioned a few things. But from the practical aspect of it, my observations as an advisor, what I have seen and what I would like to suggest, especially for people who may not be the salaried class, but maybe people who are aspiring to start up clinics or start up nursing homes, or who are already participating in nursing homes. This is my address to them. But it's generally, I think everybody should be benefit from this, because we are talking about how and what is happening in the market. So today's few minutes are not about the numbers and products. They are about amana, the trust that Allah has placed with us. And all of us are handing money in a halal way and a strict way. You are Ameen of the ward and OPD. Trusts are not just keys and cash. Trust includes the patient's body, the how you treat him, how you handle the cash during the transactions, how you invest the body, the staff's future, and the records of that you maintain. I will speak in simple, practical terms, inshallah, so you can relate to what on a day-to-day basis what it means. When a clinic becomes a deal, key points: a doctor's name carries more weight. Promoters use this trust to raise funds from colleagues. Somebody is a good practitioner, he's got a clinic, he's got a good name, he starts a clinic, he starts a nursing home, and he is a promoter, but the other fellow doctors join him because he's starting a clinic or a hospital. The clinical mindset expects fairness. Okay, I know all of you are doctors who have a fiduciary responsibility. I will rate doctors with the highest score when they do not give up, where they do not give up the treatment of a patient. They have pledged to the doctors to do whatever they can for the best of the patients, irrespective of the billing. But when the patient is when the patient is in coma, but have you maintained that same kind of amana in financial transactions as a doctor? This is what you need to question yourself. The clinical mindset expects fairness, but the deal mindset looks for advantage when you're starting a clinic or a hospital. Nursing home. I'll give you one case study of a scenario where I have experienced one doctor buys the land, the other and builds a nursing home. A second doctor proposes professionalizing it, creating an LLP or a limited liability partnership. They invite a group of specialists to invest, maybe their own colleagues, maybe the other consultants, and they make an investment. Over a few years, more entities appear. Not one for the hospital, which is which has been running in the name of the hospital. One is their land, one for operations, one for diagnostic pharmacy. Now there are multiple entities which are there. Investors think that they are investing into the hospital, but actually legal structures are different. Now, how it matters, the investor doctor says we are owners. Okay, but legally they may not hold only a limited share in LLP with no clear say over the property or sale. Now, this you need to understand that there's a mismatch between expectations and legal reality is a justice issue, not just a drafting issue, but it is a something which is called ethics. The investor, before investing, he should understand where he is investing, what his concerns are. As a Muslim doctors, two things are very important, not just the medical ethics, but also the financial ethics. If either one is compromised, the whole practice becomes shaky. Owner invests, non-owner earns. Now, this is again a pattern which I have seen in my practice, where there's an investor group of finances. He finances the land, building, interiors, everything. Visiting specialists contribute to skill, but they have got no investment in the capital, no investment in the hospital. He walks away with his income or consultancy, whatever you call it. The income from OPD, procedure, fees, surgery, charges flows mainly to non-owner specialists. So a specialist comes, he is there, he has an arrangement, mostly verbal arrangement. Whatever fees he's charging, he takes major portion of it and walks away, leaving the expenses, the operational costs with the owner or the hospital, main hospital. Now, from Islamic finance angle, if you look at it, in Sharia, return is tied to risk and contribution. While one person can contribute the capital, the other can invest his skills, but the returns have to be proportionate. A structure where capital bearers carry the burden while income earners can walk away easily is ethically weak. While I would go to the extent of saying that it is illegal also. Then we have also seen that there are multiple LLPs or multiple units or legal entities being created for investor circles. There's a promoter who creates separate vehicles for land and building. Hospital operations के लिए एक अलग है, diagnostic के लिए अलग है. So everybody thinks verbally, you think that you are a part or a owner or a shareholder of a entity which is running a nursing home. But then different investor groups are placed into different entities. There are layers behind it. Promoter and close of promoters sit at the center, receiving rent, fees, sometimes higher drawings, and then the actual people who have made the investment, they get nothing out of it. The result is each investor sees their LLP accounts, that is their sub-unit accounts, not the full picture. Without this, the main activity of the company would not have run, but they are not a part of the company. Heavy drawings and related party payments can drain profits before they reach ordinary partners. Information is fragmented, control is centralized. These are the kind of things that you see. If you see, not just in the medical one, even outside in the community, there are a lot of these kind of cases. I'll give you another example, simple example, where recently I've come out. A client has come to me and he said that he wants to invest into solar panels, where in Sangareddy. And he says the total cost is 40 lakhs, whereas somebody has drafted a lease agreement to say that you need to pay 4 lakhs each, 10 people need to put it, so it becomes 40 lakhs, and I will give you the rent. And after 10 years, the product is yours or your capital is returned. Now, if you ask the investor, does he understand the business? That is solar panels. Business is being done by somebody. Capital is from somebody else, from the investor. The actual beneficiary is a company or maybe a farmhouse or somebody. What is the liability? What is the risk that he's taking it? How is the business calculated? Suppose something happens to the solar energy panel, who's responsible for that? Are there any guarantees? Nobody understands. The only thing they understand is business hai, ek investor hai, Sharia hai, because why is it Sharia? Because I'm getting a rental income. Now, these are the kind of things that we do not talk about the risks, where things, now coming back to the hospital, where things usually start going wrong is cash handling and documentation, mixing personal and business money, patient welfare versus revenue pressure, simple case study with red flags. I would say a smart promoter is there, but an unprepared investor is there. They get into a marriage. Reality check is the promoter usually understands. I've seen some hospitals where the promoter or the person who's running the hospital is a doctor, but he's not actually into the doctors in the medical profession, but he's into the administrative one. Now, if he's into administrative one, that means he knows how to run the business. And that's where people trust him, thinking that he understands both the medical professional as well as the administration. But actually speaking, all his acts is nothing than a businessman. So the promoter usually understands cash flows, bank funding, tax impact, depreciation, related party rules, etc. The colleagues, investors understand mostly medicine, reputation, and profit sharing in general terms. They don't understand what is account. They don't understand how a company is run. Board meetings, drawing registers, and key contracts are often not explained in simple, non-technical language. So even if there are some board meetings, what has happened is they give some figures, some kind of a technical words, it's rounded off, or the meeting is closed in about 15 minutes. And then the investor, the doctor investor, the people who are doctors who have invested it, they hardly understand anything. So what is happening is that companies or the hospitals must be running into profit, but then the investors are not getting the returns. The question to the group is here, people who are investing is, when you sign as an investor, are you truly sharing in decisions or only sharing in risk? Do you understand it? If you do not understand, you need to talk to somebody who's a professional, maybe an advisor like us, or maybe a chartered accountant or somebody to understand what is business and before investing itself, and then on a regular basis. Sharia points to think about is amana and trust. Capital entrusted by colleagues should be handled with open documentation and full disclosure, not selective sharing, not part of the sharing. There's an excess uncertainty. You don't know what is going to happen. Like the example that they give you of the panel, solar panels, or maybe the investment that you're making, has it got any? I can give you another example where a specialist, maybe a radiologist, who thinks that within the hospital, if he can make an investment in his own unit, that would be good. But then the hospital rents it out to the radiologist. The radiologist takes the fee, which is the normal one. The depreciation, have you calculated depreciation? What is the life of the equipment? What is the life of the machine? They don't calculate that. But in emotions, they think that this is, I'm a partner in the hospital and then getting into it. Splitting the total business into small units runs a high risk. Justice is required. Those who bear capital risk see proportionate benefit. Those who profit without risk should be transparent about their role. Now, a team should be together, only they understand the whole thing. That is the investment, the professional inputs, and the profession and the business running of the business, the accounting part of it, the taxation part of it. These all things you need to understand making an investment in your colleague or in the nursing homes that we think about within our group. What the numbers must show. The numbers must show the tables where is fixed assets, what is land building, equipment, etc., operating costs, a clear register of promoter salary. If everybody is investing, how much is the promoter drawing? If the promoter is drawing most of the salary and the investors are left with and without any amount, at the end of the financial year, you say that the company is running a loss or you require more capital to it, so you keep pumping it. But if you actually look into balance sheet or the working of it, the promoters draw major earnings of the company. Payments to related parties. Who is a related party? Payment, maybe somebody who is a supplier, maybe somebody who is providing an ancillary service. These are the promoters which are there, which are payments are being made and the funds are being diverted. Simple regular reports for investor doctors summarizing that how much cash is generated, how much cash is distributed, and cash retained or diverted upstream. These are some of the things that you look into it. If the accounts are too complicated to explain in a 10-minute conversation, they are too complicated to entrust your life savings to it. Just as in investment, we say that unless you understand the profit, do not get into the profit. A simple example I can give you is, I normally, which I talk in my speech, conversations, is that in the capital market, only 2% of the transactions which happen in the capital market are Sharia compliant. 98% of the transactions which happen in the capital market are non-compliant. So unless you understand, people think that just share investing is good and then it is halal and they get into it. Most of the products, financial products which are structured are structured are something which you do not understand. Being a financial expert, there are so many products which are there in the market. Every day a new product comes in the market. But unless I understand, I do not get into it or I do not sell it. Similar is the case for an investor, whether it be into the capital market or into the nursing homes. Unless you understand the product, you should not get into it. Otherwise, you should take an advice or a second opinion, either both legally as well as professionally, from people who understand what the numbers are. Questions for every doctor before investing is, what exactly do I own? Like I said, there are multiple entities which are there. A hospital is engaged for somebody. The radiology department is owned by somebody. You are owning the operation part of it or the outpatient part of it. Unless all these departments are tied up together, the hospital cannot run. Now, these are all shortcuts from our community. Instead of going into the regular legal entities where you create an LLP, a private limited company, and then run professionally. What is important is the related payments. Who's deciding the related payments? Are you a party to it? What return is realistic? Now, people say that at a hospital you get a lot of income because the medical expenses have been going up and all hospitals are making money. No, not all hospitals are making money. It is mostly the promoters who are making or the corporates who are making. Maybe in another 1 or 2 minutes, I will talk and give you an example of how the corporate hospitals run. Who will explain the audited figures to me in plain, simple language? In the last 2 hours, we have been talking about, the chartered accountants have been talking about. It looks complicated for me, being a finance person, on these sections and other things, trying to understand different businesses, the exemptions are there, how many forms are there, what are the returns. So when you talk about the numbers where you are investing, do you understand them? Have you taken the help of any auditor or a finance person to understand? This is very important. Have I checked the structure against the Sharia principles? We all talk about वो ऐसे करता है, ऐसे करता है. We forget about the Sharia principles. दिन में हर वक्त खाते वक्त पूछते हैं ये हलाल है क्या? पूछते हैं सब कुछ कैसे मसले कि जैसे ज़कात देना है क्या, ज़कात इस पे निकलती है, on some minor things. But when we're making a major investment savings of ours, we do not ask, we do not learn on what is the Sharia principle. We talk about, taking out the interest from a savings account and giving in charity to say कि interest haram है, मैं निकाल के दे रहा हूँ. But we do not understand how the money is coming in, where the money is going out. Remember that one of those 4 questions that will be asked in the khabar is, कहाँ से पैसा आया, कहाँ से जाया? When we get into the practical aspect of it, into the daily kinds of things, we forget about that. We leave it only for something which is there in the masjid. Now, that should be avoided. Learning Sharia principles is not difficult. You need to go to the right person and ask, and then reduce gharar. Gharar is excessive risk, excessive uncertainty. That is gharar. Ensuring fair sharing risk and reward. One person cannot come away with all the profits or the returns. Drafting the agreements before the investment itself is equally important. And drafting the agreement has to be vetted out by a Sharia expert to find out whether it is Sharia compliant or not. These are the things. How many of us have invested into nursing homes, and how many of us have checked with the financial expert or the Sharia board to find out whether it is in line with the Sharia principles? These are some of the pointers that I want to think about and ponder about before making any investment. Cash records and barakah in clinics. What are the common issues? Cash payments to staff, cash OPD fees. I know of many specialists who, to their assistants, they pay in cash. Partial entries, off-record procedures, underbilled pharmacy, outpatient duty collect the cash, clean books not clean, legal risk, plus loss of barakah. Unless you're transparent about it, how can the barakah come into this thing? See, we remove the bank interest, but there need clean books, record all incomes and expenses, ethical tax planning. Ethical tax planning has to be done, but tax ki chori nahi karna chahiye. Tax planning and tax chori are two different things. I believe that within the provisions of the law, within the Income Tax Act, there are many, many kind of provisions which can help you in your tax planning. You need to go to chartered accounts and talk about it and then find it out. Instead of that, what we do is we take the shortcuts. I'm running my companies over the last 20 years. Believe me, there's not 1 rupee cash that I have collected. You are all you got a fiduciary responsibility as a doctor, just as we have a fiduciary responsibility as an advisor. The regulations do not permit us to take cash. We need to record. If we are taking any commissions from mutual funds, we need to declare. Are we doing the same thing with the pharmaceutical companies, referrals to the diagnostic centers? These are some of the thoughts that you need to take. And believe me, the barakah will come in your income. Even if you have a big hospital, the barakah will come only when there is a transparency and you follow the ethics. How many of us make an investment and from the company account or the hospital account we use for my personal expenses? There's no separate income for your personal drawings from the hospital income. Both are same. This is again a problem with the business people who do not differentiate between personal drawings and business. Whether it's a business or a hospital that you're running, it's already into a high risk. So what is important is to segregate your personal expenses, personal drawings from your business income. This is not there. Remember Umar Razullah Ta'ala anhu, he was a person who never used the same oil or a lamp, whether it is for the ummah or for his personal risk. He had two separate lamps. Look at that and think about what we are doing. And then in the business, when you get into the company, other investors are there. Are they aware of how the drawings are being made? Mixing personal and business money, that's what I was talking about. Common issue is clinic income used directly for home, children's fees, personal expenses. Even for petrol, we are using the car. Is it authorized that we are going to use the car both for official as well as a personal one? The maintenance which is there, the petrol which is there. If it is approved by the board, it is fine. But if it is not ethical for you to use the same car unless it is been approved by the board. One pool for nursing home, clinic, household, no separation of accounts. I've seen just now in the chat box, somebody asking whether I should keep 2 different accounts. There's one bucket for all income. There's one bucket for all expenses for us. This is not ethical. Kitna business profit hua, kitna personal spending hai, you will never come to know with weak. And the decision based on this, when you take the decisions, all the decisions are weak. Problems. One is poor financial planning. We never believe in financial planning. Messy tax filing. Difficult to justify expansion or bank funding. We easily go for loans. We easily go for interest based thinking that it is for expansion. I think If you cannot run a clinic, if you cannot run a hospital, it is better to be an employee and better to have your own small clinic rather than to have a big hospital. Spiritually, you have to answer which part of my wealth is truly halal and which is clean, which is shady. A high-risk clinical nursing home plus to mix money is double the risk for business as well as family assets. Islamic ethics says separate accounts, pay yourself a defined salary, drawing, maintain transparent records. This is very essential. It has to be inculcated in our daily life. Patient welfare plus revenue pressure. Now, there's always a financial pressure on you, whether be it rents, EMI, salaries, monthly targets. The risk you are running is unnecessary admissions, revenue-driven tests, procedure lab, pharmacy chosen for margin, not patient benefit. Think about it. Is it ethical? The same doctor we see in a masjid who is doing a dua, we feel that he's a very nice doctor, he's very pious and all that. But when it comes outside, what is he doing? Is it ethical? This is something that we need to change our mindset, that it has to be a doctor's mindset, or is it a business mindset? This you need to think about it. Islamic medical ethics is Nia. I know all doctors. Sometimes when I have a doubt, I ask some of the senior doctors and they say, a doctor will never compromise when it comes to treatment. But when it comes to finance, are we earning a halal income? Is the profit sound? That is what you need to talk about. Think about. No exploitation, no fear-based selling or to vulnerable patients. We need to come to a system where clinical business or medical business, healthcare has been a major problem. I know of a doctor, I have seen of a doctor, you'll be surprised. There may be many, but my experience I'm sharing with you. I know of a doctor who does not prescribe without a wudu. Now think of it. When he's treating as a doctor, Allah Ta'ala has given shifa in his hands, but he still thinks and believes that my writing a prescription will not have an effect unless I am clean, my limbs are clean, my hands are clean, my mouth is clean, my pen with which I am writing is also clean. It is only then that you see the result. Without this, if you're seeing the result, it is test of time. Allah Ta'ala is giving you test of time to find out what you're doing. He wanted a pure heart and pure state before making decisions, and that is the reason why I use it. This is a case which I think of is 2025, where there is a dealing between the caste hospital, how it happens in the corporates. Manipal Health buys Sayadri Hospital for 6,400 crores. It is very interesting to see these figures where they have Ontario Teachers Pension Plan. That's an organization which has taken over Manipal Health Services. Okay. The buyer is Manipal Health Services and the seller is Ontario Teachers Pension Plan. They are basically investors. They have signed it. The deal size was 6,400 crores. Sayadri, which has sold the hospital, had 11 hospitals, 1,300 beds, 2,500 clinicians, 3,500 staff. And then after the takeover, the Manipal network post-deal had gone to 12,000 beds nationwide. From 1,300 beds to 12,000 beds nationwide. What was it? They made an entry in 2022 with 2,500 crores. In 3 years' time, that valuation had become 6,400 crores. That is 2.6 times in 3 years. What does it mean? It means that why the hype? Why so much about hype about this deal? Because Manipal is not just buying beds. They are buying regional monopoly. They are paying premium pricing power. Where the money is there, they are buying power. That is the reason why you find that the doctors are being underpaid. Clinical infrastructure. They are buying fast-track IPO growth story. Valuations is again something Sharia doesn't say that it is unethical, but then the way that we have been multiplying and giving valuations in the air, which is in the air, has become a problem. And that is the reason why an ordinary person has to shell out more money for every service which is there. I'll give you a simple example. Running a hospital, look at the patients, so look at the assistants who are there, the number of assistants, the number of security people. They give them the beautiful saris, a uniform sari. The only job where they have to run from one person to another, run about 5 minutes and take the hospital to it. Now, all these have come because what you see, you pay for it. But actual service cost could be much lower. Having said that, I don't know how far it is true, but somewhere I have read it that Hyderabad and Secunderabad and Cyberabad have got 800 small hospitals. I believe in this figure, although it's not authentic, but very soon you can think that these 800 hospitals, or most of them, will be taken over by the corporates. You're already seeing that the big hospitals which are there, they're all run by corporates. And in the case of Manipal deal, the doctor's salary was 1% of the value of the deal. How can we avoid this? We'll talk about it. Why does this matter to you? Because this is not just business, it is about access to care. The basic zururiyat, out-of-pocket costs. How much are you feeling? Now you're talking about health insurance and other things are becoming unaffordable. Why? Because of all these valuations. Choice of hospitals, healthcare equity in tier 2 and 3 cities. That is, cities, the smaller cities which are there. Think about it. Is it ethical? I don't know whether this is ethical or not, this kind of evaluations, but that is a reason for concern for me. If you ask me what is the ideal way, what do you have in mind? I'm not a doctor. I don't run hospitals, but I understand business. I understand charity. I understand social causes. And that makes me believe as an observer, you are doctors, you know it, LV Prasad Hospital. If you do not know how it works, believe me, as a corporate person, I'm working on how to get the way the LV Prasad Hospital working and the model. That is a lesson for the corporates to learn. So being a doctor, being in the profession, I think you need to have, there needs to call for somebody from the LV Prasad Hospital to hear from them how the hospital runs. What was the thinking of the promoter, Anju Reddy, when you started it? And I'm sure it's, I think, Anju Reddy. Yes, I think it's Anju Reddy. I'm not sure. Please excuse me. But then it will be very interesting for our community to have such kind of a conversation and understanding how it is successful. LV Prasad, if some of you do not know, they have got a 5-tier eye care pyramid. It is a Hyderabad center of excellence, the best in the Asia. It's excellent care and equitable access for all. That is most important. Equitable access for all. I have gone there myself, taking my daughter a few years ago. I needed a recommendation name. So the person who was there, he said, you don't need a recommendation. What I saw was that the people who can afford it pays for a white card holder. I'm a fond lover and a fan of LV Prasad Hospital. I think they should seriously consider this for the community as to how they can replicate this. 50% services are free, highly subsidized for white card and poor patients. The doctors who see it, whether you pay 2,500 or you don't pay, the series is the same, the process is the same. They have got general supporters, site savers. I'm always happy to pay 2,500 as a site saver for a consultation because I know somebody is getting a site. Somebody, maybe 10 persons who are who's sitting in the shed without a fan, get a treatment. Revenue from paying patients plus philanthropy funds. And every room there is donated by somebody. Have you seen any other hospital where a patient donates a room to a hospital? I have not seen it. So food for thought. With this, I will come back to what we can do and what are the do's and don'ts. Earn halal, avoid riba and fraud, budget, tax spending, live live below means, separate business and personal account. These have to be totally separate. Even if you are a sole proprietor concerned, your personal account has to be different from your business account. Build emergency fund, invest in halal assets. If you have to buy the machinery, there is a company now in Bangalore which finances in a Sharia compliant way for equipment. You can look into that. Record every income expense, pay zakat, and treat money as an amana which Allah Ta'ala has given to you. What you should not do is interest-based debt unless unavoidable. Plan exit If you have already taken the loans, plan and exit. Don't hide cash or keep two books. Two books are a problem for all. Two books, you should never have it. Don't chase to get rich schemes or gambling like trading. Maybe sometime on a later occasion, I'll talk you about the Ponzi schemes, both which is there in the medical as well as the outside schemes. Don't delay zakat or dues. They drain barakah. Halal ways of investing. Somebody has put a question, so do another 2-3 slides. Please bear with me. So I thought that I'll address the questions. One is no riba, no gharar. No gharar is uncertainty. No miser, that is gambling. Avoid haram sectors. Assets are stocks, ETFs, gold, real estate, mutual funds, etc., etc. Screening. When you come to the investment part of it, again, there are Sharia screening norms which are there. You need to follow them. The agreements that you do for a business, you need to find out whether they are muraba, ijara. These are all technical terms, but they are equivalent to the conventional kind of agreements. It's just that the names are there. Nothing to fear about it. You just go to an advisor who can give you and then draft the work. We can help you out in drafting these deeds. We have got a team of people who can do. Sharia compliant tax saving scheme. The rule is legal tax planning. You need to do no evasion, minimize riba products. What can you do? Proper business expense booking, asset depreciation. These are all benefits that you get if you keep your records properly. The staff has to be paid salaries. The rent and utilities have to be fair. Do not pay cash. These go as an expense, and that helps you in your tax planning. ATC, more acceptable uses as on today are only children's education. The equity linked savings scheme, which was there, we do not require it. Or maybe if the NPS is there, NPS, if it is mandatory, if it is tier 1, it is Sharia compliant. There's nothing wrong with it. But inshallah, very soon you will find an NPS scheme which is Sharia compliant also. We are working with it. The product is ready. It's just a small hurdle is there. Inshallah, hopefully, all those who are into the government or into the private sector who are on the NPS schemes, they can look for a Sharia compliant scheme now. But as on today, tier 1 is Sharia compliant. Investment in tier 2 is not compliant. Sharia aligned investments, like I said, capital gains are concessional capital gains. When you make an investment to the capital market, make use of it. Try to understand the difference between the asset classes and what the asset classes that are relevant to us as Sharia compliant. Insurance guide. General insurance is mandatory by law and it is permissible. You don't have to doubt it. Example is registration insurance for third-party insurance for a car is mandatory. You can do it. What is allowed is voluntary extra where possible. Avoid extra voluntary wherever it's possible. For example, mandatory is the third party. Do the third party. Don't go in for comprehensive insurance. Group insurance. If it is being given by an employer, then it is fine. Employer provided is permissible, but no personal riba contract. You are a beneficiary. You are not entering into a contract. The company is entering into a contract. It comes as a compensation for your service, and that is why it is allowed. Private health insurance, alhamdulillah, because of what is happening in the market, the Sharia scholars have given permission for a health insurance, but the rider that is, it has to be cashless. What does cashless mean? You people understand better, so I don't want to get into that. Life insurance, there is difference of opinion, but my personal opinion and the opinion of the Indian scholars is that life insurance is not allowed. Although I know there are 1 or 2 ULIP products which have been floated in the market with a Sharia certification, but this Sharia certification has been given by foreign scholars who I would not like to put any question to them, but we are still debating on it and trying to understand. But just the latest talk with our scholars in India, who are the leading scholars, they have not permitted this. So get into products which are even if you require something for the family in case of calamity, plan out for it and keep a separate goal for it. With these few words, I think I've taken the half my time, and not more than that, but apologies if I've taken a little longer time. But then the subject is so vast that we will not be able to cover. None of the speakers will be able to cover. This has got to be a discussion in person. Maybe this is only an introduction. And if you've got any questions, maybe if not now, later on, you can talk to me. What I'm trying to do is I've got some more slides which I have prepared, but because of the paucity of time, I have deleted them. I'll put them all together and share with the moderators. You can have a look at it and make use of it. Thank you so much for the.
Jazakallah khair, sir. So I'm Dr. Syed Murtaza Ahmad, the city president there. As Dr. Vase is out of coverage area, so I'll be taking on the proceedings from this point onwards. First of all, I would like to thank all of our speakers, Faheem Ansari Sahab, Shabbir Sahab, and Karishma Madam, for the excellent talks and informative talks that they have given, and having taken time out of their schedule on a Sunday afternoon. We had planned a question and answer session, but unfortunately we are running quite late. So what we can do is we have a WhatsApp group of all the people who have registered for the event. We will be adding the speakers to that WhatsApp group, and inshallah any questions can be posted on that group where the speakers can answer later on. I would also like to thank Dr. Mustafa Hashmi for conceptualizing today's event and involving DARE to take it further. A special thanks to Dr. Vase and Dr. Tayyab, who made today's event possible through coordination between the DARE team and advertising today's event on different platforms. I hope this is the first of many such events that DARE as a group plans to conduct. And we also would be happy to involve today's speakers for future events. So before we conclude, I will just conclude with a research that was done by an American and a South African organization, where they studied between two groups of people. They found that people who gave charity, down the line, for every dollar that they spent, they received $3.75. So 3 times the investment the people used to receive. So of course, being atheist, they concluded that spending in charity gets you return because it puts a person in a positive frame of mind, and that person works more, earns more. But we know the real reason behind it. As mentioned in Surah Al-Baqarah, the example of those who spend their wealth in the way of Allah is like a seed of grain that sprouts into 7 urns. And every urn there are 100 grains, and Allah multiplies his reward for whom he wills. Even in the hadith by Huzur Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, he said, Allah said, "O son of Adam, spend, and I will spend on you." And with this message, I would like to conclude today's event with a prayer that may Allah put barakah in our earnings. Allah हमें कुशादा रिज़्क़ दे और हमें हिदायत दे कि हम अल्लाह के राह में खर्च करें, हमें हराम और सूद वाली कमाई से बचा कर रखे. जज़ाकल्लाह खैर, फ़ी अमानिल्लाह. All of you can share your reviews in the WhatsApp group that has been formed. We will be adding the speakers to the WhatsApp group where they will be sharing their presentations, inshallah, and any questions can be posted there. Allah Hafiz.